Chapter 672. Blackie's situation was completely different from that of Yun-Yi and the Thunder Ape. Those two guys had the bloodlines of high-level demonic beasts or divine beasts. They had to grow to the level of the divine beasts White Tiger and Horned Thunder Ape. They needed to use the existing high-level bloodlines in their bodies as the foundation and continue to increase the concentration. As long as there were enough resources and enough time, they could always grow to the level of divine beasts. As for Blackie, it was almost impossible for it to grow to the strength of the Heavenly Hound. It was not a matter of the concentration of the bloodline, but the potential in the bloodline was gone. The bloodline of the divine beast Heavenly Hound had degenerated into the bloodline of an ordinary spirit beast. Without the environment when the world was born, even a pure-blooded Heavenly Hound would be useless. It could awaken these two innate techniques because there was still a trace of power left in the Heavenly Hound bloodline in its body. In fact, this was the case for most demonic beasts' innate techniques. The degenerated divine beast bloodline in its body still had a trace of power left. Awakening the Heavenly Hound bloodline in Blackie's body was as difficult as catching a fish and turning it into a dragon. Wang Daoyuan was not so ambitious as to raise a Heavenly Hound that could devour the sun and the moon. Blackie had saved his life. Even if it was useless, he had to raise it well. Now that it had the innate technique of sniffing out enemies, it was a unique skill for detecting enemies and guarding against sneak attacks. Although the soul-chasing bees had a similar function, they could not detect targets who were good at camouflage. Of course, the soul-chasing bees also had their own advantages. There were many of them and they flew very fast. They could quickly detect enemies in a large range. Wang Daoyuan was going to the Sea of Seven Stars in the future and did not plan to bring Blackie with him. Now it seemed that it was better to bring it along. Wang Daoyuan asked again, "Are there any other innate techniques?" Blackie shook his head and replied via voice transmission, "I can only sense these two. These two are very good. Mingchen has always wanted to go out for a stroll. Zhou Luan and I don't have time to take him out to play. You will accompany him in the future." This was Blackie's job. It had been doing this for hundreds of years, so it naturally had no objections. With Blackie accompanying him, as long as he did not leave the Jade Spring Peak, there would be no problem in terms of safety. Dahe turned its body to 5 feet long, which made it look like a slightly bigger ordinary dog. Wang Mingchen had spent most of his time in the cave ever since he was a child and rarely went out. This time, after getting permission to go out, she quickly followed Dahe and slipped out. Since 5th great-uncle had formed his gold core, the next one to form his gold core was his third brother, Wang Daocheng. He was a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots whose main spiritual roots exceeded 8 inches. Because the cultivation technique he cultivated in the past was too weak, when he established his Violet Palace, the Violet Palace phenomenon was not very impressive. However, his spirit root talent was good, so it was easier for him to form his gold core than for 5th great-uncle. It's just that after forming his gold core, his fighting prowess wouldn't be too strong. After this, the third brother would have to focus all of his energy on forming his gold core. He wouldn't have much time to manage the clan's affairs. The position of patriarch was taken over by Wang Mingshan. He had been the great elder for many years, so managing the family affairs was not a problem for him. During the Golden Core ceremony, he also had to hand over the patriarch position. 3 months passed very quickly, and the preparations for the Golden Core ceremony had long been completed. Within the state of Zhao, all of the clans with Zifu disciples and Jindan disciples had come. As for the Foundation establishment clans, apart from those under the control of the Clear Glass County, the other clans didn't come. It wasn't that they looked down on the Wang clan, but that they didn't dare to come. It wasn't easy to enter a Golden Core clan's gate. If they wanted to establish a relationship with a Golden Core clan and didn't have a Zifu disciple, they could only rely on heavy gifts. Foundation establishment clans definitely couldn't take out heavy gifts that could catch the eye of a Golden Core clan. The 13 Linhai clans also sent cultivators. As for Emperor Zhao, Zhao Jinghua and Zhao Xuani came to congratulate him. After all, the Wang clan was backed by a Yuanian cultivator, Master Lei Yan. Zhao Jinghua's gifts were not light. Naturally, they were all 4th-rank tool refining materials. After all, the Zhao clan was also lacking in resources. Wei Xuanhu, the head of the Wei clan in the Hanjiang County, also personally came to congratulate him. In the past, the two of them had fought each other, and at that time, they were serving different masters. Now, they were both subjects of the same palace, and the ancestors of the two clans were sworn friends. Naturally, their relationship had to be renewed. Zhong Jinyang and the others, who had established a foundation at the North Nether King River, naturally sent their disciples to congratulate him. However, the situation in the North Mountain was a little chaotic now, so Zhong Jinyang didn't come personally. He only sent Zhong Yaoting and Gu Wangzong to congratulate him. The news that Wang Daoyuan had a son had already spread. These gift-givers were also very shrewd. They knew how precious the gifts were and that they wouldn't be of much use to Wang Daoyuan. Therefore, they set their sights on Wang Mingshan. Those who couldn't afford fourth-rank spiritual objects sent some spiritual objects that could improve the foundation of young cultivators, as well as protective treasures. In addition to Zhong Jinyang and the other clans, the Guiyuan sword sect also sent people to congratulate him. Moreover, the gifts were not light. The person who came to congratulate him was Wang Daoyuan's old acquaintance, the Guiyuan sword sect's young sect master, Li Jianfeng. When Wang Daoyuan first traveled to the North Mountain, he was forced by the Guiyuan sword sect to help them refine pills and make talismans. It was Li Jianfeng who reached an agreement with Wang Daoyuan to refine pills and make talismans. In the blink of an eye, nearly 200 years had passed. Li Jianfeng was also different from the past. He was originally talented, and the Guiyuan sword sect had fully cultivated him. His cultivation had already reached the late stage of the Zifu realm. Li Jianfeng was still young. He should be less than 300 years old now. If he could find a way, it was not impossible for him to reach the core formation realm in the future. However, before the Zhao family lost the country, the first sect master of the Guiyuan sword sect, Guiyuan Sanren, didn't get along with his ancestor. It seemed that before his ancestor reached the core formation realm, he had suffered a loss at the hands of Guiyuan Sanren. Later, after his ancestor reached the core formation realm, Guiyuan Sanren was afraid of his ancestor's revenge, so he sided with the sixth prince. The two families had always been enemies and never intermarried or held funerals. The Wang family had held many ceremonies before. Even when Wang Mingshan married the granddaughter of Emperor Zhao, the Guiyuan sword sect didn't come. The Guiyuan sword sect was also under the command of the sixth prince, so Emperor Zhao didn't feel at ease using them. After Emperor Zhao restored the country, he only gave the sect master of the Guiyuan sword sect the title of Earl Guiyuan. He didn't give any other rewards, nor did he ask the Guiyuan sword sect to move Shanbei back to Mount Yuan. The Guiyuan sword sect was not far from the Guiyan market. Zhou Luan's intelligence agency had already infiltrated the Guiyuan sword sect. Nothing could be hidden from Wang Daoyuan. In recent years, the Guiyuan sword sect didn't have a good time. It used to be the largest human force in Shanbei, and a group of small families had sided with them. The situation in Shanbei was stable, and they had a good life. Now that Shanbei was in chaos, Wang Daoyuan gave the demons in Shanbei another slap in the face. They couldn't do anything to Wang Daoyuan, so they vented their anger on the human forces in Shanbei. The Nether King River was a tough nut to crack. The demons were bullied by refined corpses and had conflicts with half-demons. They didn't dare to provoke Zhong Jinyang. Among the human forces in Shanbei, only the Guiyuan sword sect had some weight, so it was the best choice to vent their anger. However, the demons were also afraid of angering Wang Daoyuan, so they didn't go overboard. They only sent out second and third level demons to attack the businesses of the Guiyuan sword sect. Even so, the Guiyuan sword sect couldn't hold on for long. At this time, they had to find a backer if they wanted to keep their legacy. In Shanbei, they could only rely on Qingli County. Li Jianfeng must have come to ask for help. The process of the Golden Core ceremony was no different. First, Wang Daochang and Wang Mingshan handed over the position of the clan leader. Then, Wang Daoyuan read the funeral oration and reported to the ancestors that there were 2 more Golden Core cultivators in the family. After the ceremony, the the 3 golden core cultivators of the Wang family and the golden core cultivators who came to congratulate them preached Dao to all the guests. After all this, the guests slowly dispersed. As Wang Daoyuan expected, Li Jianfeng sat in the hall and refused to leave. After sending off the other guests, Wang Daoyuan returned to the hall and asked, "Young sect master, why are you here?" Li Jianfeng stood up from his seat and bowed to Wang Daoyuan. "I beg your highness to save my Guiyuan sword sect. As long as your highness is willing to help, the disciples of the Guiyuan sword sect are willing to be your highness's slaves." Chapter 673. Wang Daoyuan was in a difficult position because of the Guiyuan sword sect's matter. Currently, the Wang family had no need to expand to the north of the mountain. There was no need for them to interfere with the matters of the north under the pressure of the demons. After all, the small human factions in the north of the mountain were all behaving themselves. The demons were bullied by the refined corpses and fought with the half-demons. They had no time to find trouble with these small factions. Besides, the Guiyuan sword sect was loyal to the sixth prince. They had hundreds of years of conflict with the Wang family. There was no need to help them. In addition, Wang Daoyuan was not at ease with sections. He would not allow sects to exist in his subordinate factions. Even if the Guiyuan sword sect sincerely submitted, they would be a huge threat in the future. After all, sects could recruit wandering cultivators and quickly expand their strength. Once the Wang family had problems, they might betray them. Especially since Wang Daoyuan wanted to leave Beiyuan Xiuxian. He did not want to leave such a huge threat behind. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan was thinking, Li Jianfeng hurriedly took out a golden book and a broken sword. This is the inheritance treasure of the Guiyuan sword sect. The founder of the Guiyuan sword sect, Guiyuan Wanderer, found an ancient cultivator's cave in the sky/mountain range and obtained this golden book and broken sword. When he obtained the Guiyuan sword codex, it was already incomplete. This golden book and broken sword have been in the hands of the sect masters of the Guiyuan sword sect. They have never been taken out. The Guiyuan sword codex is circulated in the outside world. It was obtained by Guiyuan Wanderer by deleting the important content of the golden book and adding his own insights. Only the sect master can cultivate the true original. When Wang Daoyuan obtained the Guiyuan sword codex from the Black Sable, he felt that there were many mistakes in the content. The Guiyuan sword intent and the sword aura transformation technique were extremely advanced. How could the Guiyuan sword codex be so weak? He did not expect Guiyuan Wanderer to delete part of it and add another part based on his own understanding. He was just a Zifu realm cultivator. What could he comprehend from an extremely advanced inheritance like the Guiyuan sword intent? With the original copy of the Guiyuan sword codex, Wang Daoyuan could perfect a sword cultivation inheritance that could cultivate to the golden core realm. It was very beneficial to enrich the family's heritage and increase one's own means. Wang Daoyuan was indeed tempted, but he still could not tolerate the Guiyuan sword sect. He stood up and said, "The original copy of the Guiyuan sword manual is indeed very valuable to me. Protecting the Guiyuan sword sect is not a difficult task for me. But I cannot allow sects to exist in Qingli County. I can stop the demons from attacking the Guiyuan sword sect, but the Guiyuan sword sect must be disbanded. In the future, your Li family can establish a family clan in the Mountain Gate, and you can also keep your businesses." The other disciples of the Guiyuan sword sect who were not from the Li family were assigned to the Qingli Prefecture's Guardian Palace. "If you agree, I'll inform the demons in the north of the mountain. If you don't agree, then you can fend for yourselves." Hearing this, Li Jianfeng hesitated. By turning the sect into a family, there was no loss in terms of business, but the potential for future development would be limited. After all, there were very few ordinary people in Shanbei. The Guiyuan sword sect had become the Li family, so they could not casually recruit rogue cultivators. If they only relied on their own clansmen to develop slowly, it would take at least a few hundred years for them to see results. If they did not agree, Wang Daoyuan would not interfere in this matter, and the Guiyuan sword sect would not have a future. No matter how slow the development of a family clan was, it was still better than losing their businesses and wandering around as a rogue cultivator. Li Jianfeng gritted his teeth, I represent the Beiyuan sword sect and agree to the Duke's request. As long as the Duke agrees to take us under his command, the Li family will be safe. I am willing to disband the Beiyuan sword sect. In the future, there will be no Beiyuan sword sect, only the Li family of Mount Luoyang. Mount Luoyang was where the Beiyuan sword sect was located. It was more than 3,000 miles west of Guiyuan City, and there was an inferior level 3 spirit vein on it. With that, Li Jianfeng handed the golden book and the broken sword to Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan took the golden book and the broken sword, and took out a communication jade talisman to send a message to the guardian of Guiyuan City, Lu Yuan. He wanted him to announce that the Beiyuan sword sect had submitted to Qingli County and was under the protection of Wang Daoyuan. At the same time, he wanted to warn the demons not to have any ideas about Qingli County's subordinate forces. After this warning, as long as Qingli County did not wantonly expand to the north of the mountain, even if the demons were dissatisfied, they would not fall out with Wang Daoyuan over such a small matter. After all, they did not want to fight with Yuanian cultivators. At most, they would send a few demons here to communicate. Li Jianfeng naturally did not know about this. He only knew that Wang Daoyuan dared to kill demons in front of the extreme Arctic Ice Plains dragon species. He even reprimanded the dragon species, but there were no consequences. With Wang Daoyuan's guarantee, they no longer had to be afraid of the demon's harassment. He bowed again and thanked him repeatedly before leaving the Jade Spring Peak. Wang Daoyuan carefully observed the item that Li Jianfeng sent over. This broken sword was very ordinary and did not have any decorations. The sword hilt was connected to the sword body, and there was a silk thread wrapped around the hilt. The sword drum was also used as a handguard, and did not have any decorations. The blade was about a foot long, and there was a neat break at the end. He did not recognize the material of this sword, but it was extremely strong. It should have been a high-grade magic weapon in the past, but as the spiritual energy of heaven and earth declined, its grade fell. He had plundered dozens of such items from the Zijin River branch, and there was nothing strange about it. It was just that this sword looked familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere before. After thinking carefully, he took out the Tai sword diagram that he carried with him. After comparing the two, he realized that the shape of this broken sword was exactly the same as the Tai sword in the diagram. It was just that the Tai sword was made of Tai divine gold, which was different from this sword. The weapon pattern of this broken sword was badly damaged, and Wang Daoyuan did not have the ability to repair it. He could just put it anywhere. This thing was the same as the Tai sword, and it might be useful for comprehending the Tai sword diagram. After putting the broken sword into the space of the spiritual pearl, he carefully flipped through the golden book. There were not many pages left in the golden book, and it was full of scars. Most of the metal pages were damaged. The things recorded in this golden book corresponded to the Beiyuan sword codex that he had previously obtained. It was just that the Beiyuan sword codex did not record anything important. Beiyuan Wanderer had deleted more than half of the key content in this golden book. Then he used his own comprehension to make up for the missing parts. The entire Beiyuan sword codex could still be cultivated. Beiyuan Wanderer was really capable. The golden book also had sky-cleaving sword, myriad sword technique, and other sword cultivation spells. The spells recorded in this book were more advanced than those recorded in the Beiyuan sword codex. Of course, if he repaired them, their power would also be greatly increased. Wang Daoyuan had not used these spells for a long time. Each spell had a huge flaw. The sky-cleaving sword was too slow, and the myriad sword technique was not lethal enough. Now that he had the sword Shadow Divine Light technique, there was no need to cultivate these. What interested Wang Daoyuan the most was the cultivation method of the Beiyuan sword intent, as well as the content of the sword Qi transformation technique. Although it was also incomplete, there was more key content. Just like the Beiyuan sword intent, this golden book recorded some methods to comprehend sword intent. One could comprehend many sword intents and fuse them into one to condense the embryonic form of the Beiyuan sword intent. As for the methods to nurture the Beiyuan sword intent, there was no record. Moreover, to cultivate the Beiyuan sword intent to the extreme, one had to fuse their own strength with the sword intent. There was also no record of the fusion method. Even so, it was much stronger than before. At least he knew the first step to cultivating the Beiyuan sword intent. There was much more information about the sword chi transformation technique than the Beiyuan sword codex. It recorded a secret technique to control the sword chi. Before using the sword chi transformation technique, one had to learn how to control the sword chi. Sword cultivation spells were all made up of sword chi. If one could control every wisp of sword chi in a spell, the power of the spell would naturally be greatly increased. There was a prerequisite to cultivating this secret technique to control the sword chi. One had to be able to become one with the sword. Wang Daoyuan could not become one with the sword yet, so he could only put this thing aside for now. No matter how good it was, he could only put it aside for now. Chapter 674. When Wang Daoyuan first obtained the Beiyuan sword codex, he had also practiced the sword aura transformation technique. At that time, he used this technique to condense various shapes, but the result was that they were not lethal at all. Now it seemed that he was unable to control every strand of sword aura, causing them to conflict with each other. The things condensed with sword aura had their power depleted and had no power to attack. If he could control every strand of sword aura and prevent them from conflicting with each other, he would naturally have the power to attack. The Beiyuan sword sect was very decisive in its actions. After Li Jianfeng got the promise from Wang Daoyuan, he quickly took action. 3 days later, Li Jianfeng reported to Guiyan market town guardian Lu Yuan that the Beiyuan sword sect had been split up and asked him to send someone to receive the new people. Qingli commandery accepting the Beiyuan sword sect could be considered as interfering in Shanbei's affairs. It was inevitable that the demon race would be dissatisfied. The demon race might send someone to question them. Wang Daoyuan personally set off for Shanbei. Li Jianfeng was already waiting at the town guardian residence. Seeing Wang Daoyuan arrive, Li Jianfeng immediately bowed. "I am Li Jianfeng of the Li family of Guiyan Peak. The Beiyuan sword sect has been disbanded. All non-Li family disciples have been brought over. Your Highness, please give your orders." Saying so, he took out a roster. Wang Daoyuan took the roster and scanned it with his divine sense. The disciples that the Beiyuan sword sect had nurtured for many years had mostly been taken away when the sixth prince rose to power. Later, they were taken over by the Zhao emperor and became part of the Zhao army. The Beiyuan sword sect did not have many people left. There were more than 50 foundation establishment cultivators and 500 qi refinement cultivators. Among them, there were more than 20 foundation establishment cultivators and 200 qi refinement cultivators. They were either members of the Li family or cultivators who had married into the Li family. Wang Daoyuan handed the roster to Lu Yuan. "Go and count these people. Those who are unwilling to join Qingli commandery can leave now. Those who are willing to stay can also be differentiated. Those who are proficient in pill, weapon, and talisman arrays can join the 4 halls. Those who are not proficient in pill, weapon, and talisman arrays can stay at the town guardian residence under your command." Lu Yuan took the name list, cupped his hands in acknowledgement, and left with Li Jianfeng. An hour later, the 2 people walked in again. Lu Yuan cupped his hands and said, "Reporting to the Duke, the manpower count has been completed. Everyone is willing to stay, but none of them are proficient in alchemy, weapons, and seal formations." Being a servant in Qingli Prefecture was better than being a rogue cultivator. It was reasonable that these people were willing to stay. However, there was no one who was proficient in alchemy, equipment, or talisman arrays. The Beiyuan sword sect had gathered a lot of manpower in this area. When the Zhao clan was in trouble, they didn't need these people to go to the battlefield, so they should still be in the Beiyuan sword sect. The Li family played tricks and turned these people into members of the Li family. However, Wang Daoyuan did not want to pursue the matter. If the water is too clear, there will be no fish. A few cultivators who are proficient in alchemy, tools, and talisman arrays will not affect the overall situation. Wang Daoyuan was silent. Li Jianfeng's forehead was covered in cold sweat, and his face was a little pale. Let's leave it at that. These foundation establishment cultivators will remain in the Guiyan Market Square's guardian manor. Send all the Qi refinement cultivators to the Green Willow region. There's a huge shortage of manpower there. Li Jianfeng heaved a sigh of relief, and his face was filled with joy. Wang Daoyuan did not question the name list. This round was over. After the handover was completed, Li Jianfeng returned to the Luoyan Peak. 2 days later, the demon clan could not hold back anymore. They sent 2 4th-rank upper-class demons to question Wang Daoyuan. One of them was Han Jiao, whom he had seen before. The other was an elegant young man in a red robe. His body was filled with fire attribute spiritual energy. When he transformed into a human, his hair was also fiery red. Moreover, this guy had the aura of the Phoenix clan. He should have the bloodline of the Phoenix clan. Wang Daoyuan received them in the Guiyan Market Square's meeting hall. Before the 2 of them sat down, Han Jiao asked, "Last time, Daoyu said that you would not interfere in Shanbei's affairs. Why did you protect the Guiyuan sword sect this time?" Wang Daoyuan asked back, "This is the internal affairs of the human clan. Who gave you the right to interfere in the internal affairs of the human clan?" Han Jiao was furious. Shanbei is the territory of the demon clan. If you interfere in Shanbei's affairs, you are provoking the demon clan. There was some basis for the demon clan's words, but the demon clan's words were pure nonsense. Wang Daoyuan asked again, "Did the Wind Snow God Palace agree? Did the half-demons agree? If you can make the Wind Snow God Palace withdraw from Shanbei, then I will admit that Shanbei belongs to the demon clan." Han Jiao was speechless. When the demons saw the people from the Wind Snow God Palace, their legs and stomachs cramped. The red-robed man said, "Han Jiao has a bad temper. Please forgive Daoyu." However, Daoyu promised before that he would not interfere in Shanbei's affairs. Although the Guiyuan sword sect is a human clan, it is still a force in Shanbei. Daoyu took the Guiyuan sword sect under your command. Are you planning to expand to Shanbei? Wang Daoyuan shook his head. I was appointed by Emperor Zhao to manage the Shanbei's human clan. The sect master of the Guiyuan sword sect has the title of Count Guiyuan. He is a subject of the same palace as me and is also my subordinate. How can I not help the demon clan deal with the Guiyuan sword sect? As for Shanbei, I am not interested in this bitter cold land. There are many spirit veins in the Tianzhan mountain range. I have also reached an agreement with the rank 4 demons. However, I have no choice but to interfere with the human clan's small forces. Please forgive me, Daoyu. The red-robed man smiled. As long as Daoyu does not expand to Shanbei, it doesn't matter if the human clan's small forces give Daoyu some rank 2 or 3 spirit veins. Although Shanbei is not as rich as the Tianzhan mountain range, it does not care about such things. However, if Daoyu enters Shanbei so brazenly, where will the demon clan's face go? This meant that the Shanbei's human clan was under Qingli Commandery's jurisdiction. However, the demon clan could not suffer for nothing. Wang Daoyuan asked, "What does the demon clan want?" Han Jiao immediately replied, "We want the Golden Crow's bloodline." Wang Daoyuan was angered. "Why don't we fight? I will kill more demon beasts and you will not dare to extort me." The red-robed man quickly mediated. The refined corpses have killed more than 10 rank 4 demons these years. They have all turned into walking corpses. If this continues, there will be more and more refined corpses. At that time, the Shanbei's demon clan and half-demons will not be the only ones to suffer. Qingli Commandery will not be spared. Therefore, we want to borrow the Golden Crow's bloodline. After we use it, we will return it to Daoyu. The demon clan was used to taking things by force. They would not spit out anything that was in their hands. However, the refined corpses should be restricted. Wang Daoyuan wanted them to cheat the demon clan, but he did not want them to dominate Shanbei. The demon clan does not have the habit of returning things. How about this? I will give you a strand of the Golden Crow's natal spiritual fire. I have used this fire to burn rank 4 refined corpses. With this, it will be enough to deal with the refined corpses. If you do not agree, then I will have to take the Shanbei's humans by force. Han Jiao wanted to object, but the red-robed man agreed first. Obtaining the rootless fire would also be safeguarded by fire-playing fiends like them, which would increase their speaking rights. Wang Dayuan also took out a strand of pure gold fire and gave it to the red-robed man. With Daoist's methods, it should not be a problem to keep this rootless fire, right? The red-robed man took out a fiery red crystal and received the pure gold fire. When the fire touched the crystal, it merged with it. The red-robed man smiled. Dao Yu is indeed straightforward. Since that is the case, the Shanbei's humans will be handed over to Dao Yu. In the future, if the Shanbei's humans are attacked, Dao Yu will have the right to save them. After chatting for a while, the two left the guardian residence. The red-robed man's face was full of joy, but Han Jiao's face was cold. News of Wang Daoyuan's agreement with the Shanbei's demons spread quickly. Some small human factions in Shanbei heard the news and took action. In the past, they did not submit to Qingli Commandery because they were worried that Qingli Commandery would not help them when the Shanbei's demons attacked them. Now that Qingli Commandery had reached an agreement with the demon clan, they had a backer. They were no longer ants that the demon clan could kill at will. In just 3 days, more than 100 Foundation establishment factions came to express their loyalty. Wang Daoyuan naturally comforted them. With the Shanbei's humans submitting, Qingli Commandery could be considered to have a firm foothold in Shanbei. Chapter 675. After receiving the human forces of Shanbei, Wang Daoyuan also sent out a few Grade 3 flying warships to be stationed at Guiyan City Square to patrol the human gathering places of Shanbei. At the same time, he also gave these forces communication jade talismans. If they were attacked, they could contact Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan could then send people to rescue them. With that, the matters of Shanbei came to an end. Wang Daoyuan returned to Jade Spring Peak. There were also some matters in the family that needed to be arranged, one of which was the issue of the family inheritance. Apart from the 5 spirits immortal art that Wang Daoyuan cultivated, there were 3 other superior orthodox cultivation techniques in the Wang family. They were the Sea Overturn technique and its accompanying dermic spells left behind by his patriarch, the inheritance of perfected Lord 100 spirits and the true dragon body tempering technique of the Valley of Beasts. The Sea Overturn technique was cultivated by 5th great uncle and 12th uncle. The Heavenly Fire Spirit Cultivation Technique of Perfected Lord 100 Spirits was cultivated by 3rd brother and Wang Dezhao. Wang Daoyuan did not want to reveal his inheritance, so he did not spread the 5 spirits immortal art for the time being. On the other hand, no one cultivated the true dragon body tempering technique and Wang Daoyuan only cultivated a portion of it. This cultivation technique was extremely valuable to the Wang family and naturally had to be carried forward. It would be best if the Purple Mansion phenomenon of cultivating the true dragon body tempering technique was related to dragons. 5th great uncle, 12th uncle and Wang Mingshan were suitable for cultivating it. However, 5th great uncle and 12th uncle were already at core formation and it was not worth it to change their cultivation techniques. At most, they could only cultivate the body tempering part. The cultivation of the entire cultivation technique would still have to be handed over to Wang Mingshan. He was a wood element cultivator and his cultivation technique was only an ordinary grade 3 cultivation technique. Changing his cultivation technique to the true dragon body tempering technique would only affect his cultivation for a few years and was not a big deal. As a wood attribute cultivator, Wang Mingshan's talent wasn't particularly high. His battle prowess was obviously weaker than that of a water attribute cultivator. Now that he could change his cultivation technique to a superior body tempering technique, he naturally had no objections. He was a diligent and reliable person, but he was too honest. Zhao Yuxuan had been married for a few years, but he did not find out anything about the inheritance of the Zhao family. In this aspect, he was far inferior to Wang Daoyuan. Back then, before he and Zhou Luan were married, he had obtained the refining method of Zhou Luan's natal Dharma artifact and the Red Divine Fire technique. After the marriage, he obtained the Escape technique and Nirvana secret technique, as well as the Scarlet Luan Nirvana flame. After having Go Zi, the Zhou nation also sent over the inheritance of spiritual master Qi Luan. Wang Daoyuan specifically explained that only the Grand Elder, the Patriarch, and the Great Elder could know about this cultivation technique. If the other clansmen wanted to practice this technique, they would need the approval of the Grand Elder, the Patriarch, and the Grand Elder. After Wang Mingshan took over as the Patriarch, those with higher seniority were promoted to the position of Grand Elder, and Wang Daoyuan was no exception. Be immortal by Immortal Zhao. To Zhao, be. Although Zhao Yuzhen had married into the Wang family, it was still hard to say which family was closer to her in-laws. If she obtained the true dragon body tempering art, it was very likely that she would leak it to the Zhao family. If the core inheritance of the Wang clan were to fall into the hands of others, it would have a huge impact on the future of the Wang clan. Wang Mingshan was quite considerate and promised that he would never reveal the inheritance. After settling the issue of the inheritance, there wasn't much that he needed to do in the family. With Dahe's company, Wang Mingshan ran all over the mountains all day long. Later on, he was taught a lesson by Zhou Luan. Now, he obediently went to the clan's inheritance hall to learn cultivation knowledge. Dahe also went to the skill teaching hall to supervise Wang Mingshan. He had his own matters to attend to, so he didn't stay in the Immortal's cave often. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan also had time to cultivate. In order to take care of Wang Mingshan, the two of them had neglected their cultivation. Wang Daoyuan also tried to improve the concealment devil art while cultivating. With the memories of the doppelganger devouring spirit, the effects of the improvement were not bad. 5 years later, he had made some progress in the hidden devil art. As long as Zhou Luan did not use her probing technique, she would not be able to detect him. At this level, it was already meaningful in actual combat. Even without the black magic robe, he could still kill opponents of the same level. Wang Mingshan was already 10 years old and could have his spiritual root tested. His physical body was much stronger than Wang Daoyuan's when he was a child. Since the age of 5, he had been cultivating like a 10-year-old child. Naturally, his realm improved faster. Before the age of 7, he had cultivated to the Qi refining realm and began to cultivate the Red Phoenix divine fire technique. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan were worried that he was too young and his body hadn't grown up yet. If he cultivated too fast, they were afraid that his foundation would be damaged. Therefore, they asked him to slow down his cultivation speed and focus on improving his physical strength. Of course, they didn't forget to use magic. Even so, his cultivation had now reached the 4th level of the Qi refining realm. Because he was too young and his body hadn't grown up yet, he was only slightly taller than his peers. Naturally, his physical strength was not comparable to that of ordinary cultivators of the same level. However, the gap was not very big. After Wang Mingshan returned from the cultivation hall, Wang Daoyuan took out a Qi testing disc to test his spiritual root. He placed his hand on the spirit testing disc, and after Wang Daoyuan inserted his spirit energy, the spirit testing disc began to flash with a red light. Then, the light condensed into a red pillar of light. This pillar of light was 9.7 inches tall. The minimum requirement for a heavenly spiritual root was a single 9-inch spiritual root. Those with a heavenly spiritual root that reached 1 foot or 9 inches were rare geniuses. Only 1 or 2 would appear in hundreds or thousands of years. Among the cultivators with heavenly spiritual roots that were often seen, the highest was 9.8 inches. A single spiritual root of 9.7 inches was a top-tier existence among cultivators with heavenly spiritual roots. Zhou Luan was very excited. As expected of my son. With a heavenly spiritual root and a special constitution, this talent is at the top even in the whole of Beiyuan Xiuxian. Wang Mingshan was a little disappointed. I thought I would be a peerless genius even stronger than Dad, but my spiritual root is only 9.7 inches. It's not a full spiritual root. If an outsider heard this, they would probably die of anger. Even if he had a heavenly spiritual root that barely reached 9 inches, Golden Core cultivators would fight to take him in as a disciple in the 4 top powers. Moreover, he had a special constitution. After cultivating to the Golden Core stage, he would definitely have some special abilities. Seeing such a disciple, even the half-step Yuanying would want to take him in as a disciple. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "A 9.7-inch heavenly spiritual root and a special constitution will not lose to those peerless geniuses with full spiritual roots. With this talent, forming a core will not be difficult. Since Mingchen is already 10 years old, he can officially be the crown prince of Qingli County. Hearing this, Zhou Luan said with satisfaction, "That's more like it. When Mingchen becomes the crown prince, let's see which power will rush to form a marriage alliance." The other powers wanted to form a marriage alliance with the Wang family because they wanted Wang Daoyuan's successor to have their own bloodline. This would improve their relationship in the future. Now that Wang Daoyuan was the crown prince, if the other powers married their daughters over, they would become stepmothers. The cultivation world valued strength, but it also valued concubines. Even if they played the game of palace intrigue, the child would still be treated as a concubine's child. As long as the major powers had a bit of face, they would not embarrass themselves like this. Wang Daoyuan shook his head and said, "You think too much. In the future, there will only be more powers that want to form a marriage alliance. Of course, their main target will not be me, but Guzi. That's none of my business. The more daughters-in-law the better. 8 or 10 is not too few, and 100 or 80 is not too many. Only by marrying more daughters-in-law can we have more children." Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Then how about I also have 8 or 10? I can also have more children." Zhou Luan glanced at him and sneered, "You can try. It's just a joke. I'm not in the mood for that. I'll send a letter to Emperor Zhao to ask for Guzi's title." Although Qingli County had a lot of autonomy, Wang Daoyuan was still a subject of Emperor Zhao in name. Such a big matter as establishing a crown prince naturally had to go through Emperor Zhao. After sending the letter to the Three River Market, Zhao Jinghua took a flying warship to Jade Spring Peak the next day. Along with him were a few Zifu clansmen of the Zhao clan. They were holding the crown prince's seal, crown prince, and python robe. Chapter 676. Wang Daoyuan changed into the county king's robe and personally welcomed Zhao Jinghua and the rest to the hall. Zhao Jinghua cupped his hands and said, "County king, please call Crown Prince Wang out to receive His Majesty's imperial edict." Wang Daoyuan sent a message to his son with his spiritual consciousness, asking him to come to the hall. Very quickly, Wang Mingchen strode into the auditorium with his feet splayed out in front of him. He bowed to Wang Daoyuan and said, "Greetings, father." Wang Daoyuan nodded and bowed to Zhao Jinghua. Junior Wang Mingchen greets Minister Zong. Zhao Jinghua praised, "Crown Prince Wang has an extraordinary bearing at such a young age, and his cultivation has also reached the 4th level of Qi disciple. It seems that the rumors about Crown Prince Wang having a heavenly spirit root are true." Wang Daoyuan did not hide anything. Mingchen does have a heavenly spirit root, and he ate a lot of good things when he was young, so his body is not weak. He started cultivating at the age of 5, which is why his cultivation is so low. With the Wang clan's current strength and the backing of Lei Yanjinren, having a heavenly spirit root was not a big deal. Zhao Jinghua smiled, "Congratulations, County King, for having a successor. Crown Prince Wang wearing the official robe and crown." A few Zhao clan members helped Wang Mingchen put on the official robe and crown. This outfit was also a magic tool, and although its defensive capabilities were not very good, it could change its size according to the wearer's body shape. No matter who wore the same clothes, it would fit them perfectly. Zhao Jinghua then began to read the imperial edict. Wang Daoyuan only had to cup his hands in greeting, while Wang Mingchen had to bow. The contents of the imperial edict were all official, praising Wang Mingchen's talent and so on. After reading it, Zhao Jinghua personally handed the crown prince's seal to Wang Mingchen. Wang Mingchen bowed again before receiving the seal. After the coronation ceremony, Zhao Jinghua took out a set of princess consort clothes and smiled. The county king did not announce the identity of Crown Prince Wang's birth mother, so there must be some inconvenience. This is the county king's family matter, and His Majesty should not interfere. Princess consort's phoenix coronet and robe will be given to the county king. Wang Daoyuan accepted the outfit and said with a smile, "Thank you, Your Majesty." After chatting for a while longer, Zhao Jinghua led the Zhao family away from Jade Spring Peak. When Wang Daoyuan returned to the cave, Zhou Luan came up to greet him. "I say, Jun Wang Darren, who are you planning on giving Jun Wang Fei's phoenix coronet and robe to? The array formation of the auditorium isn't activated." My divine sense can see everything clearly. Wang Daoyuan criticized in his heart, who can wear it? Would you let me have a good time if I let someone else wear it? However, he still had a flattering look on his face. Of course it's for your highness. Who else is qualified? After saying that, she took out the phoenix coronet and robe. This phoenix coronet and robe was similar in shape to the one sent by the Zhou nation, but it was not as gorgeous. After all, the Zhou dynasty had been passed down for tens of thousands of years. It was very rich and valued etiquette. The state of Zhou was a rising star among the other countries, and its foundation was relatively shallow. After going through another big mess, not many things were left. Zhou Luan took the phoenix coronet and robe and put it on to show off. The Wang family didn't hold any ceremony to confer the title of heir. Only the forces in Qingli County came to pay respects to the heir and gave some small gifts. Yi Changxing came to congratulate him. He was He Yuanqing's disciple and Wang Daoyuan's martial nephew. For so many years he had been guarding the shop in Qingli City Market. He was about the same age as Wang Daoyuan, and he was already in the late stage of the Zifu realm. He was also a good seedling for the core formation realm. Wang Daoyuan met him in the auditorium. Yi Changxing cupped his hands and said, "Junior brother has outstanding talent. Congratulations, martial uncle." After chatting with him for a while, he asked about the divine weapon pavilion. As they both belonged to the treasured cauldron lineage, Yi Changxing didn't hide anything and said bluntly, "Recently, the devils in the southern wasteland have been especially rampant. The Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Tai Sword sect have followed Grandmaster's plan and supported the devil cultivators of the Blood Devil lineage to suppress the devils. But recently, quite a few old devils have appeared. The formation blocking the devils at the absolute heaven abyss didn't have any problems. These devils have most likely been hiding in the southern wasteland for a long time. Now that they are showing their faces, they want to cause a big commotion. The Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Tai Sword sect are preparing for war. But since the devils dare to make a move at this time, they must have made sufficient preparations. The two sects may not be able to suppress them smoothly. It's very likely that they will have to recruit the Aurus core cultivators of the various human forces like 10,000 years ago to head to the southern wasteland to suppress the devils. Wang Daoyuan was a bit puzzled. Master broke through to the Yuanying realm. Logically speaking, the two sects should be the strongest in 10,000 years. Causing trouble at this time is simply throwing away their lives. Could it be that the devils also have Yuanying battle prowess? But this also isn't right. If the devils have Yuanying battle prowess, before Master breaks through, they can completely sweep through the entire southern wasteland and even invade the territories of various countries. Making a move now is definitely not the right time. Yi Changxing shook his head. Grandmaster and the others also can't guess what the devils want to do. They can only be cautious. Furthermore, they are supporting the devil cultivators of the Blood Devil lineage, wanting to use this to draw out the devil's backup plan. Although the devils have exposed some old fellows, they have not displayed methods that can deal with Yuanying cultivators. The two also talked about the situation of the treasured cauldron lineage in the Divine Weapon Pavilion. Ever since Master Lei Yen formed his core, the status and special treatment of the treasured cauldron lineage were all restored. There were many newly recruited disciples of the Divine Weapon Pavilion who wanted to enter the treasured cauldron lineage. But Master Lei Yen did not take in any disciples. Instead, it was He Yuanqing and the other disciples who took in some disciples to replenish the treasured cauldron lineage. Only after chatting for a long time did Yi Changxing leave. Wang Daoyuan also sank into deep thought. With the devil clone of the devouring spirit, he had a very deep understanding of the devils. Although the devils were not a race of this world, in terms of intelligence, they were not the least bit inferior to the humans. Therefore, if the devils of the southern wasteland were to cause trouble now, they would definitely not do it on a whim. Instead, they should have been preparing for it long ago. Now was the time to cause trouble. Even Master's breakthrough to the Yuanying lineage could not disrupt their plans. It could be seen that the devil's hidden strength was strong enough to not fear a Yuanying cultivator at all. Presumably, The upper echelons of the Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Tai Sword sect were also aware of this. It was just that they did not know what the devils were up to, so they did not dare to act rashly. In this matter, Wang Daoyuan could not play much of a role. The devils were fully prepared, and the trouble would not be small. There was an 80% chance that it was like suppressing the devils 10,000 years ago. They still had to recruit Jindan cultivators from various factions to go to the southern wasteland together. The only thing he could do was to make sufficient preparations in advance, so as to avoid any trouble from the clan after he left. There was no problem at the Jade Spring Peak. After the spirit vein absorbed the gift of heaven and earth from 5th great-uncle's Jindan Heavenly Tribulation, it had been improving in grade these few years. Now that it had been upgraded to the mid-4th grade, with the protection of the Myriad Water Origin Formation and Zhou Luan overseeing it, safety was not a problem. There was no danger at the Green Willow region. No matter how many formations were set up, it would be useless. Once someone attacked, they could only protect the Green Willow secret area. On the other hand, the guards at the Wanchuan market could be strengthened. After all, it was a place with a low 4th grade water spirit vein. It was completely possible to set up the Myriad Water Origin Formation. In addition, with the 12th uncle guarding this place, it would not be a problem to resist the invasion of demons. He brought Wang Shouzhe and the other members of the clan's formation hall to the Wanchuan market to set up the Myriad Water Origin Formation. Wang Shouzhe's formation skills had also reached the upper 3rd grade not long ago. With him and a few formation masters helping out, in addition to Wang Daoyuan's great improvement in consciousness and spiritual power, the speed of setting up the formation was also very fast. It only took a little more than 4 months to set up the Myriad Water Origin Formation in the Wanchuan market. The next step was to improve his personal strength. Wang Mingshan was already 10 years old. At this age, the cultivators of the Wang clan had to leave their parents and be managed by the Cultivation Hall and the 100 Arts Hall. Wang Mingshan was naturally no exception. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan moved back to the underground cavern near the Earth Fire Chamber. Without Wang Mingshan's disturbance, the two could cultivate well. He strived to raise his cultivation to the peak of the Jindan realm as soon as possible. At that time, his grasp of the laws and the grade of the 5 elements spiritual fire would be improved. Only when he was strong would he have a higher chance of surviving and be able to intimidate the weak. Chapter 677. In the underground cave, the lava provided a steady stream of spiritual energy, and the cultivation speed was very fast. 5 years later, Wang Daoyuan's cultivation reached the peak of the Golden Core stage. Zhou Luan's cultivation speed was not slow either, and she was not far from the peak of the Golden Core stage. The only shortcoming was that she did not cultivate but face. Cultivation reaching the peak of the Golden Core stage meant that the Golden Core stage was complete. Her understanding of the power of law would naturally be on a higher level. Now that he was using a lesser divine ability, his divine sense could last for 4 hours. The 5 elements spiritual fire in his body had naturally reached the limit of the upper grade of the 4th stage. There was a big gap between the 4th stage and the 5th stage. Without a huge amount of 5th stage spiritual energy, it was impossible to go further. The changes in the spirit bead space weren't small either. Ever since the Hidden Dragon River Spirit Chi Tide absorbed a large amount of Stage 5 Spirit Chi, the growth of various phases had increased. Now the area of the spiritual field had reached 70 mu, and in the past 10 years, the average spiritual field could be increased by 2 mu every year. Wang Daoyuan did not obtain any special spiritual plants, but he expanded the planting of some 100 fruit wine and jade marrow vitality-enhancing pills. He also expanded the planting of 3 mu of purple gold-yellow sprout millet, which could be eaten as rice and could be used to brew the 3rd stage spiritual wine. The flow of time in the space of the spirit pearl was 50 times faster than the outside world, and the spiritual plants grew faster. In the middle of the space of the spirit pearl, there were a few purple cloud trees that had grown purple cloudwood cores. Wang Daoyuan cut them down and replaced them with new seedlings. These purple cloud trees were obtained by Wang Daoyuan in the cave of the 100 Spirit Lord, and it had been about 100 years. In the space of the Spirit Pearl, more than 4,000 years had passed. After Wang Daoyuan obtained the 5-element spiritual fire, purple gas appeared in the space of the Spirit Pearl. After refining the 5-element spiritual fire, there were only lower-grade flames in the space of the Spirit Pearl, and the speed of purple gas production was seriously affected. These purple cloud trees had been absorbing purple gas for less than 3,000 years. Even so, the growth of purple cloudwood cores was still a little slow. After all, there was always purple chi in the space of the spiritual pearl. This condition could not be compared to the outside world. The other smaller purple cloud trees had been in the space of the Spirit Pearl for more than 2,000 years, so it wouldn't take long for them to grow a purple cloud tree heart. The 5 spiritual veins had all reached the 4th stage upper grade, and the 5 elemental spiritual fire's seed fire was the same. The peach tree that had sprouted the spiritual fire of life had also reached the limit of the upper grade of the 4th rank. However, the peach tree did not grow, nor did it show any signs of blooming. The other Tier 4 phase such as the Yellow Springs Willow, Blood Fire Hibiscus, Hidden Cloud Tea, Jade Needle White Jade Pine, and so on had all reached Tier 4 superior grade. Among them, the Jade Needle White Jade Pine had yet to bear fruit, but the seeds of the 7-leaf ghost-faced flower had basically grown and were just short of ripening. When Wang Mingchen was born, Wang Daoyuan used a few drops of flower dew. After the seed matured, there would be 1,000 years without flower dew. However, the war in the southern wasteland was just around the corner. He needed the flower dew to replenish his divine sense. Wang Daoyuan took out another 10 drops of flower dew from the 7-leaf ghost face flower. It would probably take another 100 or 200 years for the seed to mature. The 2 star cores in the spiritual pearl space had also reached the upper grade of the 4th rank and were beginning to emit a faint star power. With the star power, the star fruits that he had planted before had also bloomed and borne fruit. However, the star power emitted by the star cores was too weak. If not for the proximity of the star cores, the star fruits would not be able to absorb the star power. It would take a long time for the star fruits to ripen. He had already harvested a few batches of other phase for the 100-fruit wine. Once the star fruits ripened, the 100-fruit wine could be brewed. The first batch of purple gold chalcedony fruits had already ripened. Wang Daoyuan used the seeds to plant 2 acres of purple gold chalcedony fruits. What made Wang Daoyuan the happiest was that the red-winged crow's cultivation had also reached the middle of the 4th rank. When it had been at the lower of the 4th rank, its strength had already surpassed most of the middle golden core realm cultivators. Now that it had broken through, its strength had reached a new level and was comparable to a 3rd-rate golden core realm cultivator. In recent years, the situation in the southern wilderness had become more and more tense. A war could break out at any time. As the guest elder of the Divine Weapon Pavilion and the disciple of Lei Yanjinren, Wang Daoyuan had to go once the Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Tai Sword sect issued the summons. Demons and demonic cultivators were afraid of the power of divine beasts. When facing demons, the red-winged crow's strength was not much weaker than that of a first-rate golden core realm cultivator. However, this fellow had never been interested in transforming, so it had not undergone the transformation tribulation. True Monarch Bai Ling's scarlet-feathered crow didn't seem to have transformed either. The greatest benefit of transforming was that it could use magic tools and other items. The red-winged crow did not need magic tools, so its strength did not affect its transformation. When its cultivation reached the peak of the golden core realm, it could also go to the Tai Sword sect to help repair the Tai Celestial Sword. The war was imminent. If it could repair the Tai Celestial Sword, it could also increase its strength. There was also no need to worry about the family. With 3 golden core realm cultivators and the devouring spirit clone, it would not be a problem for them to protect themselves. Wang Mingchen was now 15 years old. Even though Wang Daoyuan and Zhou Luan wanted him to cultivate slowly, his cultivation had reached the 8th level of qi refinement. The strength of his body was also far beyond that of cultivators of the same level. There were very few cultivators below the foundation establishment realm who could match him. He was a cultivator with the heaven spirit root and did not need the foundation establishment pill. When his cultivation reached a certain level, he could naturally enter the Foundation establishment realm. However, he was only 15 years old and his body was not fully grown yet. When he entered the Foundation establishment realm, he needed to absorb a large amount of blood essence. If he entered the Foundation establishment realm before the age of 20, it might affect his body's growth and then affect his achievements in the body refinement realm. Wang Daoyuan asked him to temporarily stop cultivating and learn from Wang Mingshan how to deal with all kinds of affairs. After all, he was going to be a county king in the future. Not only did he need to have enough strength, he also needed to have the ability to govern. Wang Daoyuan sighed in his heart. Back then, he cultivated desperately, wanting to increase his cultivation as soon as possible. When it came to his son, he did not want to let him cultivate too quickly. After dealing with the affairs in Qingli County, Wang Daoyuan sent a message to Lei Yanzhenren through the Divine Weapon Pavilion. He asked him to tell the Tai Sword sect that he had already reached the peak of the Golden Core realm. The Tai Golden Flames had also reached the limit of the upper 4th grade and could help repair the Tai Sword. He asked them to send a flying warship to pick him up. The Tai Sword sect was in the southwest of Beiyuan Xiaoxian, while Qingli County was in the northeast. The distance from Qingli County was too far and it was not realistic to fly there. Along the way, he would need to rest frequently. Without a month or two, he could not even think about it. In addition, he had to avoid natural hazards and the important industries of the Golden Core realm forces. If he encountered any accidents, it would take too long. The Tai Sword sect's speed was also very fast. Half a month later, a 4th grade flying warship arrived at the Jade Spring Peak. The person who came to pick him up was Kuei Jian. Wang Daoyuan did not expect him to come so quickly. He was sleeping while hugging his wife. This guy was not shy. After coming to the Jade Spring Peak, he asked his clansmen about the location of the underground cave and shouted Wang Daoyuan's name at the entrance of the Earth Fire Room. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly got up, waking Zhou Luan up. She asked, "You're leaving now?" "Yes, the Southern Wasteland Demon Clan is rampant. I have to do something. This time, I'm going to the Tai Sword sect to repair the Divine Sword. There's no danger. I've already dealt with the affairs of the clan and the county. You just have to help me guard the Jade Spring Peak." Zhou Luan nodded lazily. "Don't worry. With me at home, nothing will happen." Wang Daoyuan left the underground cave and Zhou Luan continued to sleep. After leaving the Earth Fire Room, Kuei Jian asked with a smile, "Junior brother, are you ready?" "I've been ready for a long time. I just didn't expect senior brother to come so quickly. Let's agree in advance. This time, I'll help the Tai Sword sect repair the Divine Sword and I'll repay the favor I owe you." Kuei Jian pondered for a moment. "Why do I feel like I'm at a disadvantage? Forget it, I won't bicker with you. Let's go now?" Wang Daoyuan nodded and gave some instructions to the current clan leader, Wang Mingshan. He boarded the flying warship and headed southwest. Chapter 678. Wang Daoyuan was most worried about the 10,000 corpses spiritual master in the north of the mountain. That guy was not to be trifled with. He had spoiled things a few times before. If he went to the Tai Sword sect and the Southern Wasteland started a war, he would be held back. It was hard to guarantee that the 10,000 corpses spiritual master would not cause trouble. No one knew how many refined corpses he had under him. After repairing the Tai Divine Sword, he had to think of a way to deal with the Yellow Spring Secret Realm. The Kuei Sword was also unconventional. Relying on the thick skin of the flying warship, it did not make any turns along the way. When it reached the Dragon Spine Mountain at the western border of Zhao, it did not turn to go to the gap created by the Wanchuan River. Instead, it flew directly into the Nine Heavens astral wind layer and passed over the Dragon Spine Mountain. Even peak Golden Core cultivators could not stay in the Nine Heavens astral wind layer for too long. However, the high-grade Tier 4 flying warship did not care. With the protection of a defensive formation, each plank of the ship was a high-grade Tier 4 magic artifact. It could also last for a long time in the Nine Heavens astral wind layer. At most, it would consume some high-grade spirit stones. 10 days later, the flying warship arrived at Tai Mountain. Tai Mountain was more than 3,000 miles long from north to south and 500 miles wide from east to west. There was a high-grade Tier 4 spirit vein in the entire mountain range. The spirit vein's level was not inferior to the spirit vein on the Treasure Cauldron Mountain. Moreover, there was a Tai divine gold vein on Tai Mountain. In the past, the founding master of the Tai sword sect had chosen this place precisely because of the ore vein. Unfortunately, without the nourishment of Tier 5 spirit energy, the Tai divine gold had become a high-grade Tier 4 material. It was stronger than Tai essence gold, but there was still a big gap between it and true Tier 5 Tai divine gold. It was not enough to forge the Tai divine sword. Otherwise, there would be no need to repair the broken Tai divine sword. They could just forge a new one. In the future, if the spirit vein on Tai Mountain could be restored to Tier 5, these ores would also be restored quickly. Therefore, the Tai sword sect had rarely developed spirit veins in the past 10,000 years. The Tai sword sect was built in the middle of Tai Mountain. There was the highest peak of Tai Mountain, the Divine Sword Peak. The entire mountain peak was like a huge sword. The tip of the sword pointed to the sky. Its shape was very similar to the Tai divine sword. The Tai sword sect's important institutions were all located divine sword. The scale of the Divine Sword Peak was not small either. It was over 50 miles long and 10 miles wide. The cave residences of the upper echelons of the sect were all on the Divine Sword Peak. The flying warship of the Kuei sword had the flag of the Tai sword sect hanging on it, so no one stopped it. He drove the warship into the mountain gate and stopped at the sword hilt of the Divine Sword Peak. Daoist Swordless was already waiting here. He was now the vice-sect master of the Tai sword sect. His status was high enough, but his seniority was low. It was more suitable for him to receive Wang Daoyuan. Kuei Jian led Wang Daoyuan off the warship, and Daoist Swordless hurriedly stepped forward and clasped his hands. "Junior apprentice brother, you're finally here. It's only been 10 years, and your cultivation base has already surpassed mine." Wang Daoyuan also cupped his hands and bowed. "Senior martial brother, you must be joking. Your strength cannot be measured by cultivation." "Junior martial brother, you were able to kill Metal Elite Zombie when you were at the middle Gold Core stage. Now that you have reached the peak of the Gold Core stage, your strength must have long surpassed mine. Let's not wait here. The sect master is receiving Martial Uncle Lei Yen in the Sublime Ceremony Hall. Let's go together." After all, the Tai sword was once a level 5 magic tool. Even now, it was comparable to the Violet Gold Pagoda. Repairing a severely damaged magic tool was not something that just anyone could do. Martial Uncle Lei Yen was the only Yuanian cultivator in the world, and he was also a top craftsman. Naturally, he had to participate in such a difficult task. As for leaking secrets, the Tai sword sect did not care at all. Their core inheritance was the original version of the Tai sword diagram. They could even casually give away a copy of the Tai sword diagram, let alone the refining method of a magic tool. Wang Daoyuan followed Daoist Swordless to the Sublime Ceremony Hall. He saw his master and the sect master of the Tai sword sect, Daoist Cloudsword, sitting opposite each other. Daoist Swordless bowed and said, "Sect master, junior martial brother Daoyuan is here." Wang Daoyuan also bowed. Disciple greets master and martial uncle Cloudsword. Daoist Cloudsword nodded. "You are indeed a rare genius. It has only been 60 years since you formed your core. In less than 100 years, you have cultivated from the core formation stage to the peak of the golden core stage. In the entire Beiyuan Xiuxian, there are only a handful of them. I'm afraid your current strength is already above mine." Wang Daoyuan quickly cupped his hands. "Martial Uncle Cloudsword, you must be joking. Disciple's ability is still far from your level." He was not being modest. Daoist Cloudsword was able to become the sect master of the Tai sword sect. His strength was definitely one of the best under the Yuaning. Wang Daoyuan's current strength was only at the lower level of a half-step Yuaning cultivator, about the same level as Daoist Mo Yang. There was still a gap between him and the 4 sect masters. Daoist Thunderflame smiled. "Daoyuan is still young. His accumulation is still lacking. Since Daoyuan is here, let's start repairing the Tai sword. Daoist Cloud's Word asked, Martial Nephew Yuan, how are your preparations? Disciple came by flying warship. My spiritual energy is good and my spiritual sense is intact. I can start at any time. He did not have much to prepare. He only needed to control the Tai golden flame. Forging and repairing did not require him to do anything. Controlling his spiritual fire was not a problem as long as his spiritual sense and spiritual energy were not exhausted. Then let's begin. Swordless, go to the treasury and bring the broken sword and the materials for repairing it. Daoist Cloud's Word brought Daoist Thunderflame and Wang Daoyuan to the Tai Sword Sect's Earth Fire Room. The Earth Fire Room was at the foot of the Divine Sword Peak. After all, sword cultivation sects needed to forge long swords and magic weapons. In the deepest part of the Earth Fire Room, the fire spiritual energy emitted by the lava was comparable to a high-grade Tier 4 spiritual vein. They were forging metal attribute magic weapons, so it was not suitable for them to be too close to the Earth Fire. Thus, they went to the Earth Fire Room on the highest floor. Not long after, the swordless sage arrived. He took out a sword that had been broken into two from the middle, as well as a small fragment of the sword. This sword was exactly the same as the one in the Tai sword diagram. It did not have any decorations and looked simple and unadorned. This broken sword was indeed a Tier 5 magic weapon. Even after being broken for more than 10,000 years, it still carried a strong murderous aura. Even an early-stage golden core cultivator would be injured by the murderous aura if they came into close contact with this sword. Daoist Cloud's Word took the broken sword and the fragment. This is the Tai Sword Sect. Now, the Tai Sword Sect no longer has any Tai gold materials to repair it. Only this fragment of the sword body has been forged before and has preserved more spiritual energy. It can barely be used as a repair material. If you want to use this material to repair it, you will have to melt it. However, this material is metal attribute. Once it comes into contact with fire, it will definitely lose a part of its spiritual energy. In this way, the material may not be enough to repair the Tai sword. Thus, we can only rely on martial nephew Daoyuan's Tai golden flame to melt the material. Wang Daoyuan took the fragment and released a wisp of Tai golden flame to envelop it. The characteristics of the two were compatible. Calcining the material would not reduce its spiritual energy. Instead, it would increase its spiritual energy. After calcining it for 2 hours, the sword body fragment was only slightly red. It was far from being melted. Wang Daoyuan took out the vermilion bird fan and poured more spiritual energy into it. This time, the entire fragment was burned red. Some areas even showed a bright yellow color. However, this fragment was still extremely hard and did not melt. Daoist Cloud's Word sighed. Even a peak Tier 4 flame can't melt this fragment. It seems that there is no way to repair it. Daoist Thunderflame waved his hand. That's not necessary. There is still the meteoric flame controlling gourd. Wang Daoyuan took out the gourd and sucked out all the flames within. He continuously poured the Tai golden flame rootless fire into the gourd. The flames were strengthened by the gourd and became more powerful. Under the burning of the flames, the fragment soon emitted a dazzling white light. After a quarter of an hour, the fragment began to change shape and soften. Daoist Cloud's Word was overjoyed. It's done. We can use it for forging now. Chapter 679. The fragment had softened and could be used, but it wasn't in its best state yet. Since he was repairing a broken sword, he naturally had to use repair materials to glue the two pieces together. It would be better to burn this fragment until it melted and then repair it. He mainly relied on the gourd and the vermilion bird fan to control the firepower, so Wang Daoyuan could still spare some time. He asked, Martial Uncle Cloud's Word, do I need to burn the two pieces? Daoist Cloud's Word nodded. Of course, it needs to be calcined, but it doesn't need to be calcined to such an extent. Wang Daoyuan drew out a wisp of flame and used the vermilion bird fire control technique to burn the two pieces. 2 hours later, the fragment had turned into liquid, and the two pieces were emitting a bright yellow light. Daoist Lei Yan immediately took action. Using the liquid from the shards, he glued the two parts of the broken sword together and began forging. Wang Daoyuan's flame couldn't be stopped, but it could be weakened. Cloud's word wasn't idle either. He constantly injected his spiritual energy and sword intent into the sword so that it wouldn't lose its original charm. Moreover, a Tai sword forged in this way was more suitable for him. He was the #1 expert of the Tai sword sect, so this sword would be more effective in his hands. The difficulty of repairing a broken sword was to melt the sword and repair materials without losing spiritual energy. The second was to connect the broken tool patterns. This sword was once a 5th-grade magic tool. This was especially true for offensive and defensive magic tools, which often needed to clash head-on with the opponent. If there was a problem with the tool pattern, it would be damaged after a few uses. It was impossible to restore the tool pattern to its original state without Yuanying's spiritual sense. The difficulty of forging wasn't low either. During this process, the original tool pattern on the broken sword couldn't be damaged in the slightest. This was only the tool pattern on the surface. A 5th-grade magic tool usually had tool patterns hidden inside the sword. These tool patterns weren't inscribed, but forged during forging. This was very difficult. With Wang Daoyuan's low-grade 4th-grade refining skills, it wasn't enough to create such a tool pattern. Wang Daoyuan didn't need to do this himself. He only needed to control the fire and learn how to forge 5th-grade magic tools. The three of them busied themselves in the crafting room for an entire day before they finally finished repairing the magic tool. Daoist Swordless did not even have a natal magic weapon, so he knew nothing about refining magic weapons. There was nothing he could do to help. After a level 4 magic tool was refined, it needed to be nurtured in a weapon cauldron. Needless to say, the Tai Divine Sword was a level 5 magic artifact. Although it was just a restoration, it still needed to be nurtured after a period of tempering. Daoist Thunderflame took out the crafting cauldron that he carried with him and placed the repaired Tai sword into it. The Tai Golden Flame was the most suitable way to nourish an artifact forged with the Tai Divine Metal. Of course, the rest of the work wasn't too stressful. He didn't need too much firepower. The vermilion bird fan was enough to control the fire. 2 months later, the artifact was completely nurtured. Daoist Lei Yan took out the Tai sword from the cauldron and inspected it with his spiritual sense. After which, he handed it over to Daoist Cloud's word and said, "I didn't notice anything wrong with it, but I'm not sure how much power it can wield." Receiving the Tai sword, Daoist Cloud's word slashed out a few sword rays. On the stone wall of the crafting room, there were sword marks more than 3 inches deep. The rocks here weren't weak and were protected by a formation. However, under the sword rays, the formation collapsed instantly. Wang Daoyuan compared his strength with the white tiger blade. Even if he used his full strength, he wouldn't be able to unleash such a powerful attack. Moreover, the Tai sword hadn't recognized a master yet, so the power it could wield was very limited. Daoist Cloud's word said happily, "It's indeed been repaired. Although it's not a level 5 magic artifact, it's not far from it. Senior brother Thunderflame and martial nephew Daoyuan have worked hard these 2 months. You've helped my Tai sword sect so much. Is there anything you need?" Daoist Thunderflame smiled and said, "Apart from the Tao of maintenance, the Tai sword sect also has some attainments in crafting. However, these 2 things are useless to me. If you want to give me a reward, just give it to Daoyuan." Martial nephew Daoyuan, as long as my Tai sword sect can do it, will satisfy you. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "I can be considered a dabbler in sword cultivation. It's just that I haven't spent too much time on the Tao of sword cultivation. I've yet to achieve one with the sword, so I'd like to seek guidance from my senior brothers and martial uncles in the Tai sword sect. In addition, it'd be even better if I could learn a sword escape technique." Daoist Cloud's word waved his hand and said, "These are nothing. The Tai sword sect has at least a few hundred sword escape techniques. Even if you didn't help me, I don't mind giving you a few. As for one with the sword, that's even simpler. 80% of the early golden core cultivators in my Tai sword sect can achieve one with the sword. Those with higher cultivation bases can all do it. Since you're also a sword cultivator, I'll give you some pointers on the Tao of sword cultivation. After all, Daoist devil vanquishing didn't focus on the Tao of sword cultivation. His sword cultivation legacy is still very lacking. You have excellent perception. Why don't you study the original Tai sword diagram? You might be able to comprehend something. Daoist Thunderflame stroked his beard and smiled. That's rare. The Tai sword diagram was originally given to the disciples of other sects to study. This hasn't happened for 10,000 years. Last time, it was Daoist devil vanquishing who studied the Tai sword diagram. He killed many demons and devil cultivators, so the Tai sword sect gave him a chance to study it. After Daoist devil vanquishing comprehended the Tai sword diagram, he made great progress on the Tao of sword cultivation. Daoyuan, you have to seize this opportunity. Wang Daoyuan was originally worried that it wouldn't be appropriate to study the core legacy of the Tai sword sect. Since his master said so and there was a precedent, it didn't matter anymore. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Martial Uncle Cloud's word." Daoist Cloud's word ordered, "Swordless, bring Martial Nephew Daoyuan to the Divine Sword's secret realm to study the Tai sword diagram. You stay there for the time being. If Daoyuan has any doubts, you can help him." Swordless cupped his hands and nodded. Wang Daoyuan also bowed and said, "Thank you, Martial Uncle." Then, the two left the refining room and went to the Divine Sword's secret realm. The entrance to the Divine Sword's secret realm was inside the Divine Sword Peak. The two entered the Divine Sword's secret realm through a passage at the sword hilt of the Divine Sword Peak. The secret realm was not big. It was only about 60 miles in diameter. There was a fourth-stage high-grade metal-type spirit vein in the secret realm. As soon as they entered the secret realm, their eyes were filled with large and small stone tablets. There were more than 10,000 of them. Each stone tablet was engraved with densely packed words. The stone walls at the edge of the secret realm were also engraved with words and pictures. Wang Daoyuan randomly found an old stone tablet and looked at it carefully. It recorded the insights of a cultivator who comprehended sword intent. This sword intent was called the ethereal sword intent. It was signed by Daoist Jade Sword. Wang Daoyuan was no stranger to this senior. He even had a copy of the Tai sword diagram in his hand. He was a cultivator at the peak of the soul formation realm. The insights of such a person were simply placed here. Wang Daoyuan spread out his divine sense and checked a few more stone tablets. They were at least the insights left behind by a cultivator at the later stage of the Golden Core realm. Every stone tablet was enough to be the core inheritance of a small sect like the Guiyuan sword sect. More than 10,000 stone tablets were the insights of more than 10,000 cultivators above the Golden Core realm. The foundation of a top force was indeed not something a new force like the Wang family could compare with. Seeing his surprised look, Daoist Swordless smiled and said, "These are the insights of the predecessors of the Tai sword sect. In the beginning, they were engraved on the stone walls around the secret realm. Later on, the stone walls could not be engraved anymore, so they started to set up stone tablets here. You can read the contents of these stone tablets as you wish. However, you cannot copy them or take the stone tablets away. However, I have to remind you, these stone steels all contain the sword intent of the previous generations of patriarchs. If you read too much of it, it will be very stressful for your soul. Be careful. Let's go look at the Tai sword diagram first. That is the most valuable thing." Chapter 680. Wang Daoyuan followed Swordless Spiritual Master into the depths of the secret realm. No matter how brilliant these seniors' insights were, they could not compare to the original Tai sword diagram. That was an almighty who had participated in the demon-killing war in the ancient times. A painting that he had casually left behind had become the core inheritance of the Tai sword sect. After tens of thousands of years, it had not been damaged. The insights on these stone tablets were also obtained from comprehending the Tai sword diagram. Now that he was in the Divine Sword's secret realm, he naturally could not miss out on the Tai sword diagram. Swordless Spiritual Master brought Wang Daoyuan to the deepest part of the Divine Sword's secret realm. There was a stone room here, but there was no one inside. Wang Daoyuan asked, Senior Brother Swordless, since this is the core inheritance of the Tai sword sect, why is there no one comprehending it here? Swordless Spiritual Master answered, even the disciples of the Guiyuan sword sect are not allowed to come here casually. You have to make contributions to get a chance. Moreover, comprehending the original Tai sword diagram is not an easy task. Normally, only cultivators in the later stage of the Golden Core realm can comprehend it. There are very few people like me who can comprehend it at the early stage of the Golden Core realm. After you go in, you will know why. Although the Tai sword sect is a top force, there are not many cultivators in the later stage of the Golden Core realm. Moreover, they all have their own things to do and do not have much time to comprehend it. You should make preparations first, and then we will go in. Wang Daoyuan did not know what Swordless Spiritual Master was up to. Could there be any danger with the Tai sword diagram? Listen to advice and eat your fill. Wang Daoyuan still listened to Swordless Spiritual Master's advice and formed the black tortoise bright light armor to protect himself. He also took out the white tiger blade, ready to attack at any time. Swordless Spiritual Master brought him into the stone room. The stone room was not very big, only 20 feet square. There was a white jade board with a diameter of 30 feet, embedded in the back wall of the stone room. The original copy of the Tai sword diagram was carved on this jade board. At first glance, it did not look any different from the copy he saw before. Just as he was about to use his divine sense to investigate, the swordless sage reminded him, "You must be careful." Wang Daoyuan carefully probed the painting with his spiritual sense. Just like the previous copy, the man in the painting moved, waving his sword to kill the demons. However, not only did this sword slay the demons, but even Wang Daoyuan felt like he was about to be slain by this sword. Now, he finally understood why Swordless Sage had asked him to be prepared. At this time, he really wanted to slash out with his sword. However, he was still rational. He knew that this was the effect of the Tai Divine Sword diagram. If he slashed out and destroyed the Tai Divine Sword diagram, he would be in deep trouble. He immediately used the Black Tortoise Sword Shield from the Guiyuan Sword Codex to block the Sword Qi. As expected, the Sword Qi attacked indiscriminately. Those who were observing the Tai Sword diagram were also within the attack range. Streaks of Sword Qi slashed at Wang Daoyuan from the diagram. However, this power was not too strong. If cultivators below the Golden Core stage came to observe, their lives might be in danger. Even mid and early Aurus Core stage cultivators could be injured. A late Aurus Core stage cultivator could casually use a defensive spell to completely block the Sword Qi. The Black Tortoise Sword Shield blocked all the Sword Qi, and the Tai Divine Sword diagram quickly returned to normal. Swordless Sage smiled and said, "Actually, it's fine if you slash out with your sword. If you counterattack, the Sword Qi from the diagram will be even stronger. No matter how strong your attack is, the Sword Qi from the diagram will be able to cancel it out. However, this Tai Divine Sword diagram cannot be activated without limit. Every time it is activated, it will consume spiritual energy. This spiritual energy comes from the spirit veins in the mystic realm. If the spiritual energy in the diagram is used up too much, it will take a long time to recover. Just stay here and comprehend it well. If you have any questions, just ask me. Although I am far inferior to Junior Brother in terms of nomological comprehension. However, I can still guide Junior Brother on the path of sword cultivation." Wang Daoyuan nodded and began to recall the charm of the sword slash by the man in the diagram. He had been a little panicked previously and did not notice many details. Now that he recalled it, he felt that the sword was all-encompassing. He sensed the white tiger sword intent that he was most familiar with, as well as Jade Sword Divine Lord's ethereal sword intent, and Swordless Sage's sword intent that did not rely on external objects and used himself as a sword. There were even more sword intents that he could not distinguish. This sword was all-encompassing and very similar to the Guiyuan sword intent. According to the Golden Book obtained from the Guiyuan sword sect, the initial condensation of the Guiyuan sword intent required one to comprehend different sword intents and merge them into one. In order to strengthen the Beiyuan sword intent, other than deepening one's comprehension, one could also constantly comprehend more sword intents and merge them into it. The broken sword that Li Jianfeng sent was almost identical to the Tai Divine Sword. The sword intent in the Tai Divine Sword diagram was also similar to the Beiyuan sword intent. The two legacies were most likely from the same source. The Beiyuan sword codex was severely damaged. In terms of comprehending sword intent, there was only a rudimentary part. The Tai sword sect's legacy was even more severely damaged. There was only sword intent and nothing else. Of course, sword intent was the essence of swordsman's legacy. The two combined could restore more than half of the Beiyuan sword intent inheritance, but it was still far from the complete Beiyuan sword intent inheritance. According to the Beiyuan sword codex, the Beiyuan sword intent was to merge all of one's essence, energy, and spirit into one. The Beiyuan sword codex and the Tai divine sword diagram could only achieve the unification of sword intents. There was no specific method to merge them. There was still a long way to go to achieve the unification of essence, energy, and spirit. Of course, it was not bad to achieve the unification of sword intents. After all, Beiyuan Xiaoxin had declined so much that there were no high-level legacies. In the future, when he went to Qixing Si Xiaoxin community, he might be able to find a way to merge essence, energy, and spirit with sword intent. Wang Daoyuan once again probed the Tai divine sword diagram with his consciousness to deepen his comprehension of the white tiger sword intent. The so-called unity of man and sword was mainly to comprehend one's own sword intent to an extremely profound level and merge it with one's natal longsword. Sword intent came from a cultivator's comprehension of the Tao of the sword. Merging it with the longsword was like merging the cultivator's will with the sword. When a cultivator reached the early stage of the Golden Core realm, their natal magic artifacts would be able to carry sword intent. Wang Daoyuan had no problem with this. Someone like Daoist Swordless, who could achieve the unity of man and sword at the early stage of the Violet Palace realm, was rare. Wang Daoyuan understood that Daoist Thunderflame wanted him to seize the opportunity. Since Daoist Cloud's word did not say how long he needed to comprehend it, he would continue to stay here. With Daoist Thunderflame holding the fort, how could the Tai sword sect chase him away? Comprehending the Tai divine sword diagram was like exchanging blows with a powerful sword cultivator. Naturally, he could learn a lot. If there was something he did not understand, he would ask Daoist Swordless. Although Daoist Swordless cultivation was inferior to Lin Yun's, he was definitely the #1 sword cultivator in the world. With his guidance, Wang Daoyuan's comprehension of sword intent improved by leaps and bounds. A month later, he formed a sword finger with his right hand. After a wave of spiritual energy, 10 sword shadows appeared around him. Without summoning the white tiger blade, he was able to directly use the sword shadow godlight technique. In addition, the power of these sword shadows had increased by leaps and bounds. Previously, the white tiger blade's full power was only 30%, but now it was 40%. No wonder it was said that the cultivators of the Tai sword sect were powerful in battle. After becoming one with the sword, the power of a sword cultivator's magic arts would increase by a third. Although he did not directly summon the white tiger blade, his magic arts still borrowed the power of the white tiger blade. Thus, when he used this technique, he did not use up any of his spiritual sense. Daoist Swordless laughed. "Congratulations, junior apprentice brother. You've become one with the sword. Your current fighting prowess is most likely comparable to the sect leaders of the 4 supreme powers." "You flatter me, senior apprentice brother Swordless. I still have a long way to go. In particular, my knowledge of the Tao of the sword is still quite shallow. I wish to comprehend the Tai divine sword diagram a bit more. Please don't blame me, senior apprentice brother." Daoist Swordless shook his head. "It's fine. It's just a matter of consuming some spiritual energy. This Tai divine sword diagram has been around for tens of thousands of years. I don't know how many people have comprehended it, but I don't see any loss in the sword intent." Chapter 681. With swordless sage's words, Wang Daoyuan felt relieved. Since the sword intent would not be depleted, it was just a matter of losing a little spiritual power. With a 4th-tier upper gold spiritual vein, spiritual power was not a big deal. He could get more benefits here. According to the contents of the Guiyuan Sword Classic, it was best to start with a similar sword intent to fuse the sword intent. Although the Guiyuan sword intent was all-encompassing, it was also divided into primary and secondary. When fusing the embryonic form of the sword intent, the future Guiyuan sword intent would also have this characteristic. It was like feeding the main sword intent with other sword intents. Of course, the other sword intents did not completely disappear. They could still be used. He could continue to comprehend this sword intent and increase its power. The sword intent he comprehended was the White Tiger sword intent. The White Tiger sword intent was mainly offensive and supplemented by majesty. Since he walked the path of a sword cultivator, he naturally pursued the offensive. Therefore, to fuse with the White Tiger sword intent and produce the embryonic form of the Guiyuan sword intent, it was best to comprehend the offensive sword intent. In this way, when he used sword cultivator spells in the future, the lethality would be stronger. He probed the Tai sword diagram with his divine sense, and the man in the diagram once again waved his sword to kill the demons. The sword chi shot in all directions and also affected Wang Daoyuan. He tried his best to capture the components of the killing sword intent from the sword chi. When he was at the early stage of the Zifu realm, it took him a lot of effort to comprehend the White Tiger sword intent. Now it was much better. His cultivation was more profound, and he had a deeper understanding of the power of law. To put it bluntly, sword intent was also a manifestation of the power of law. In addition, he already had the White Tiger sword intent as a reference, the Tai sword diagram's continuous demonstration, and the guidance of the swordless master. It was naturally not difficult to comprehend a new kind of sword intent. It only took him more than 10 days to comprehend the offensive sword intent. In the Zifu realm, next to the soul, a small gray mist sword that was only half an inch long appeared. At this time, the White Tiger sword intent was already more than a foot long. It looked no different from a real sword. The two sword intents could not be compared at all. This sword intent was still in its embryonic form. If used alone, it would not be able to exert much power. After comprehending the offensive sword intent, Wang Daoyuan no longer pondered over this sword intent. After all, he could deepen his comprehension at any time in the future. It was better to take advantage of this opportunity to comprehend more sword intents. The fusion was mainly based on the White Tiger sword intent. He already had the Slaughter sword intent, so the next step was the Majestic sword intent. This kind of sword intent did not directly increase the lethality of the attack. Its main purpose was to give the enemy a sense of oppression and destroy the enemy's fighting spirit. When fighting with the enemy, it was very useful. Attacks hurt the enemy's physical body, while Majesty intimidated the enemy's soul. The two complemented each other, and their destructive power was even greater. This time, he used even less time, only 8 or 9 days to comprehend the Majestic sword intent. At this moment, Swordless Sage saw that something was wrong and tried to dissuade him. The path of sword cultivation is all about specialization. Junior brother, if you comprehend too many sword intents, you'll end up biting off more than you can chew. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "It's all right. I'm a penta spiritual veins cultivator, so it's impossible for me to specialize in just one path. The cultivation technique I cultivate is also about absorbing all things in the world for my own use. Since cultivation techniques and dharma spells are all about drawing on the strengths of others, why can't sword intents do the same? Didn't the senior in the Tai sword diagram also slash out thousands of sword intents with a single sword?" Swordless Sage shook his head. There are many seniors who have such thoughts. They also want to be like the senior in the diagram and fuse thousands of sword intents into one. However, they did not succeed. Instead, because they comprehended too many sword intents, they lost their way. In the end, they did not go far on the path of sword cultivation. They were originally extremely talented people who should have shone brightly, but in the end, they could only become weaklings among cultivators of the same level. Some seniors even had their Dao hearts collapse, and their cultivation did not improve at all. Wang Daoyuan smiled. Senior brother, don't worry. My Dao heart is to absorb all the great Daos in the world. No matter how much I learn, it will not shake my Dao heart. Swordless Sage did not try to persuade him anymore. Forget it. Since junior brother has already come to a conclusion, I won't try to persuade you anymore. My master once said that your Dao heart is extremely strong. No matter what kind of blow you receive, it will not collapse. As long as your Dao heart does not collapse, you will have a chance to start anew. Making mistakes on the path of cultivation is not necessarily a bad thing. Wang Daoyuan stayed here for another half a month and comprehended the armor-piercing sword intent related to offensive sword intents. The main purpose of this sword intent was to break through defenses. It was extremely effective against opponents with strong physical bodies or powerful defensive spells. Wang Daoyuan wanted to continue comprehending, but unfortunately, Daoist Lei Yen was leaving. He was the main force to intimidate the southern wasteland devil race. He could not always stay in the Tai sword sect to eat and drink. Since his master was leaving, it would be a bit greedy for him to continue staying here. He did not stay any longer and left the Divine Sword's secret realm with Swordless Sage. They came to the Chongli Palace. Daoist Cloud's word smiled. Looking at your sharp chi, you should have achieved the unity of man and sword. However, you still need to learn to restrain yourself. After achieving the unity of man and sword, the sword cultivator itself is a sharp divine sword. However, a true divine sword usually does not reveal its sharpness. It will only reveal its sharpness when it is needed to fight against enemies. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands. Thank you for your teachings, Uncle Master. Daoist Cloud's word took out a jade slip. This is the sword escape spell I prepared for you. It is more suitable for your white tiger sword intent. Wang Daoyuan took the jade slip and thanked him again. He wanted to deal with the threat of the 10,000 corpse Daoist. Now was an excellent opportunity to trick him. In the past, he wanted the 10,000 corpse Daoist to stir up chaos in Shanbei and create a foothold for himself. Now that he had reached an agreement with the devil race, Qingli County had the right to govern the Shanbei humans. Wang Daoyuan had the Green Willow Island and had no need to expand to Shanbei in a short time. The Shanbei demons had been hit repeatedly, and their overall strength was not as good as the half-demons. If the refined corpses continued to cause trouble, Shanbei might become the dominant half-demons, which was not good for the human race. It was better to maintain the current situation and let the demons and half-demons reach a balance. Since the situation had changed, the strategy naturally had to change. He could not be allowed to roam freely in Shanbei. It just so happened that something happened in the southern wasteland. He could ask his master to bring the 10,000 corpse Daoist to the southern wasteland to deal with the demons. This way, he could deal with two threats at the same time. He said, the demons in the southern wasteland are in chaos. I thought of someone who can deal with them. With him around, the casualties of our human race will be greatly reduced in the future. Hearing this, Daoist Cloud's word quickly asked, Who is it? Martial nephew Daoyuan, tell me quickly. Has Uncle Master heard of the 10,000 corpse Daoist? Of course. A few thousand years ago, this person suddenly appeared in Shanbei. He massacred Class 4 demons and Aurus Core stage humans and half-demons and refined them into refined corpses. He was extremely powerful. In the end, the 4 top forces joined forces to deal a heavy blow to him. After that, no one knew where this person fled to, and he never showed his face again. After a few thousand years, this person must have turned to dust. What's the point of mentioning him? Wang Daoyuan sighed. This person turned into a ghost cultivator and hid in the Yellow Spring's secret realm to avoid the heavenly tribulation. Now, the refined corpses are causing trouble in Shanbei. His corpse refining techniques are extremely brilliant, and he has many refined corpses under his command. He is perfect for dealing with demons. Demons mainly attack the soul. Refined corpses do not have souls, so they do not fear demons at all. Their bodies are also extremely strong, so they will not be at a disadvantage against the Yang demons. As long as they have enough Yin Qi to nourish them, They will be able to recover from any injuries. Daoist Cloud's word nodded. Daoyuan's words make sense. But why would he come to the southern wasteland? Daoist Thunderflame snorted. He is a living being of this world, after all. He has the responsibility to eliminate demons. I will personally go to the Yellow Spring Secret Realm and ask him if he agrees. If he agrees, it will be for the best. If he doesn't, I will agree on his behalf. There are many secret realms in the southern wasteland with dense qi. Just find him a place to stay. Chapter 682. Daoist Master Myriad Corpse was a famous figure a few thousand years ago. Daoist Cloud's word wasn't confident in dealing with him. However, with Daoist Lei Yen taking action, there was nothing to be afraid of. No matter how powerful the 10,000 Corpse spiritual master was, he wouldn't be able to break through the Yuanying realm in Beiyuan Xiuxian without a rank 5 spirit vein. If he got lucky and obtained something good like Wang Daoyuan, he could break through to the Yuanying realm. Most likely, they would have already come out and swept through the entire Beiyuan Xiuxian. The difference between a nascent soul and a half-step nascent soul was not small at all. Even if they had the home field advantage, it would be difficult for the strongest half-step Yuanying cultivators to defeat the weakest Yuanying cultivators. Daoist Master Lei Yen had the Purple Thunder Divine Flame, which was extremely effective against refined corpses and ghost cultivators. He was no ordinary Yuanying cultivator. Enlightened Master Cloud's word smiled. If that's the case, I'll bring the Tai sword along with senior brother Lei Yen. Daoist Lei Yen also knew that Wang Daoyuan had obtained the inheritance of the 10,000 Corpse Daoist. If this matter was leaked out, it wouldn't have a good effect. This time, it was better for the master and disciple to deal with the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master. He shook his head and said, "Junior brother Yunjian, you are the strongest person in the Tai sword sect. If you go with me, there won't be enough cultivators to guard this place. If the devil race took this opportunity to launch an attack, the Tai sword sect would not be able to deal with it. No matter how strong the Myriad Corpse Daoist master is, he can't threaten me." Moreover, there was still Dao Yuan and the Golden Crow. The Yellow Spring Secret Realm was only a third-level upper-grade treasure. The Golden Crow's life spiritual fire was enough to suppress the yin qi. The two of us will be enough to subdue Daoist myriad corpses. With the war at hand, Daoist Cloud's word didn't want to take the risk. His sword cultivation dharma spells did not have much of a restraining effect on refined corpses. Once he made a move, it would be difficult to guarantee that he would be able to escape unscathed. He cupped his hands and said, "In that case, I'll leave the matter of Daoist Master Myriad Corpse to senior brother Lei Yen and martial nephew Dao Yuan." Adept Lei Yen laughed. "It's just a small matter, nothing difficult." Daoist Cloud's word ordered Kuei Jian to send the two of them off. Kuei Jian continued to control the flying warship to send the two of them away from extreme Celestial Mountain. Half a month later, the flying warship arrived at the Jade Spring Peak. Kuei Jian did not stay for long. After sending the two of them over, he returned to the Tai sword sect. Daoist Thunderflame didn't like unnecessary formalities, so he didn't go to the auditorium. Instead, he went directly to Wang Daoyuan's cave residence beside the Jade Dragon Creek. Zhou Luan also came to visit and called Wang Mingchen over. Seeing his grand disciple, Daoist Lei Yan's face was filled with joy. "In the blink of an eye, my grand disciple has already grown so big. Your cultivation is also not bad, much stronger than your third uncle." After chatting for a long time, Zhou Luan left with Wang Mingchen. Daoist Thunderflame asked, "Dao Yuan, how do you plan on dealing with Daoist myriad corpses? The situation in the southern wasteland is not urgent enough to start a war immediately. Why don't we blackmail the demon race first? After all, us master and disciple took care of the myriad corpse Daoist master. The biggest beneficiary was the demons, followed by the half-demons. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage if I don't take advantage of you." Daoist Thunderflame smiled and said, "You've never been at a disadvantage. Go ahead and arrange whatever you want. I'll wait here. I can teach Xiao Liang and the others how to refine tools and also have a good taste of Dao Shu's craftsmanship." Wang Daoyuan sent a letter to Lu Yuan, asking him to tell the demon race that he could ask Daoist Thunderflame to take care of the refined corpses. As for when they would take action, it would depend on the sincerity of the demon race. The demon race was also really anxious. 2 days later, Wang Daoyuan received a reply, inviting him to Guiyan House for a chat. Wang Daoyuan naturally went as promised. In Guiyan House, there were 2 fourth-rank demons. They were Han Jiao and the red-robed man. There was also a half-demon brawny man with 2 big horns on his head. Seeing Wang Daoyuan come, the 3 quickly got up. The red-robed man asked, "Dao, you said that you can ask Daoist Thunderflame to take care of the refined corpses. Is that true?" Wang Daoyuan nodded. "Of course it's true. Can I use Master's name to go around swindling people?" The half-demon brawny man with horns on his head asked, "Jin Jiao, don't beat around the bush. The refined corpses are a disaster. The demon race and half-demon race have suffered a lot of losses. We all want to get rid of the refined corpses. How can Daoist Thunderflame do it? Dao, please tell us." Han Jiao and the red-robed man also looked at him eagerly, waiting for him to name his price. "I need a lot of things from the demon race, but most of them are things that you're not willing to take out. The only things that you're willing to take out and that I'm interested in are some ores and materials." Although Wang Daoyuan didn't lack these things for the time being, how could he let go of the opportunity to extort them? Jin Jiao said, "Some upper rank 4 ores aren't a problem. Anyway, we can't use them to refine magic tools. In the end, we'll exchange them for good things from you humans. We half-demons can offer 2,000 kilograms of upper rank 4 materials. We can't do anything more than that. Anyway, the refined corpses are a disaster to the demon race. We can wait." The half-demons could wait, but the demon race couldn't. Han Jiao hurriedly said, "Our demon clan can provide 2,500 kilograms of 4th-tier upper-grade materials. After all, we don't have much use for them, so we can't store too much. If Dao Yu wants more, we'll have to gather more. 5,000 kilograms of upper rank 4 materials, even if they were ordinary materials, 1 kilogram could be sold for tens of thousands of spirit stones." Wang Daoyuan didn't pester them. He was just casually extorting them. Even without the demon race and half-demons, he still had to deal with 10,000 corpse Daoist. If the demon race was determined to stall for time, Daoist Thunderflame wouldn't be able to. "In that case, I won't make things difficult for you. After all, the refined corpses are our common enemy. I'll wait in the guardian residence of Clear Glass County. Send the things over and I'll ask Master to help." The 3 let out a sigh of relief. With a Yuanian cultivator helping, it wouldn't be a problem to deal with the refined corpses. The sword that had been hanging over their heads for decades could finally be removed. Their movements were also very fast. Early the next morning, they brought the refining materials over. After Wang Daoyuan received the materials, he returned to Jade Spring Peak. Daoist Thunderflame was training the Wang family's refiners in the Earth Fire Room. Seeing him return, he asked, "How many good things did you scam from the demon race?" Wang Daoyuan took out 2 yin and yang rings and smiled. 5,000 kilograms of upper rank 4 materials. There aren't many. Master, take a look and see if there's anything to your liking. Daoist Thunderflame took the 2 yin and yang rings and checked them. Phoenix Bloodstone, Heaven Suppressing Stone, Tai Essence Gold, Arctic Black Iron. There are quite a lot of good things. However, upper rank 4 materials are useless to me. You can keep them for later. Now that we've extorted them, it's time for us to make our move." The 2 flew out of Jade Spring Peak on a cloud and headed for the Yellow Spring Secret Realm north of the mountain. Outside the entrance of the Yellow Spring Secret Realm, Wang Daoyuan wrote a note and threw it into the Secret Realm, asking the 10,000 corpse Daoist to come out for a chat. Soon, a lower rank 4 refined corpse walked out of the Secret Realm. Its back was against the entrance of the Secret Realm, and half of its body was inside. This should be the 10,000 corpse Daoist clone. Even if half of it was inside the Secret Realm, it could still be controlled by the 10,000 corpse Daoist. Seeing Wang Daoyuan and Daoist Thunderflame, the clone stiffly cupped its hands and said, "Greetings, Daoist Thunderflame." Daoist Thunderflame condensed the purple thunder divine flame in his hand. There's no need for these useless things. I'm too lazy to chat with you. You've caused too much of a commotion in the north of the mountain. If we let you go, I'm afraid even the 4 top forces won't be able to suppress you. We don't want the situation from thousands of years ago to happen again. I'm afraid you can't stay here any longer. We don't want to kill you. As long as you're obedient, we'll give you a chance to live. Hearing this, the refined corpse fell silent. The 10,000 corpse Daoist had some understanding of his own strength. With the Yellow Spring Secret Realm, 20 to 30 late-stage Golden Core cultivators wouldn't be able to take him down easily. However, the Purple Thunder Divine Flame in Daoist Thunderflame's hand could take his life at any time. Even with the help of many refined corpses and the geographical advantage of the Yellow Spring Secret Realm, it was impossible to contend against it. Moreover, there was also Wang Daoyuan who understood most of his inheritances. Chapter 683. After thinking for a long time, the refined corpse said, I'll stay in the Yellow Spring Secret Realm and not send any more refined corpses to attack the demons and half-demons. Senior, can you spare me? Lei Yin didn't say anything, but Wang Daoyuan sneered, How can I allow others to sleep under my bed? If you stay here, you can cause trouble in the southern mountain at any time. I don't even dare to leave my territory. Hearing this, the refined corpse was silent for a long time. Then it asked Lei Yin, If that's the case, if I refuse, I'm afraid my soul will scatter today. I've lived for thousands of years and haven't avenged my sect. I really don't want to die. Where do you plan to put me? What do you want me to do? Lei Yin smiled. A wise man submits to circumstances. Although you're not from Beiyuan Xiuxian, you're still from this world. Now that the demons are causing trouble in the southern wasteland, your refined corpse is very suitable to deal with them. The southern wasteland is vast, even more than the northern mountain. Because it was the front line against the demons tens of thousands of years ago, many human ancestors and demon experts died in the southern wasteland. There are many places with dense yin qi and death qi, and such secret realms are not rare. As long as you can make a great contribution, it won't be a problem to give you a rank 4 yin qi secret realm. The 10,000 corpses spiritual master was a bit tempted. Although he knew about the invasion of the southern wasteland, he had been active in the northern mountain and didn't know much about the southern wasteland. Wang Daoyuan continued, The southern wasteland's spirit qi is violent, and ordinary humans can't survive there. The demon beasts there are affected by the violent spirit qi and mutated into ferocious beasts. These ferocious beasts have low intelligence, but their bodies are stronger than demon beasts, and their qi and blood are more vigorous. Whether it's used as fertilizer for refining corpses or directly refining corpses, it's very suitable. When you go there, your strength will increase by leaps and bounds. Moreover, no one will blame you for killing ferocious beasts in the southern wasteland. The more you kill, the better. As long as you don't collude with the demons and attack the human territory in the northern wasteland, no one will care about you. For you, the southern wasteland is much stronger than the northern mountain. Letting you go there is not to harm, but to help you. Once again, the refined corpse fell into silence. After a long while, he finally spoke. If what Wang Daoyu said is true, I'm willing to go to the southern wilderness. However, as a ghost cultivator, I relied on the protection of the Yellow Springs mystic realm to avoid the heavenly tribulation. Once he left this place, he would no longer be able to conceal himself from the heavens. In the future, he would have to endure lightning tribulations frequently. In Beiyuan Xiuxian, my cultivation won't be able to advance, and my strength won't increase. However, the heavenly tribulations get stronger and stronger each time. Sooner or later, I will still die from the lightning tribulation. What's the difference between dying early and dying later? Daoist Thunderflame asked, What do you want? Refined Corpse said, I want a chance to break through Yuanying. Master, I think we should just kill him. If there was a chance to break through Yuanying, wouldn't I use it myself? After I break through Yuanying, killing you will be a piece of cake. Why would I need your help? The 10,000 corpses Daoist master hurriedly changed his words. I was just probing. If Daoist master Lei Yen wants me to go to the southern wasteland, he has to make sure I'm alive. If I go out like this, the heavenly tribulation will soon descend upon me. Daoist Thunderflame stroked his long beard and pondered for a while before saying, It won't be hard to save your life. I still know some magic tools that can help ghost cultivators avoid the heavenly tribulation. Refined Corpse quickly said, Please advise me, Senior Thunderflame. Hearing that he could avoid the heavenly tribulation, Daoist Master Myriad Corpses put down his face and even called him Senior. Seeing him anxious, Daoist Thunderflame faintly smiled. Have you ever heard of the heaven-deceiving coffin? Refined Corpse thought for a while but couldn't think of anything, so he answered truthfully, Never heard of it. Wang Daoyuan had heard of the heaven-deceiving coffin. It was a magic tool that ghost cultivators used to avoid the heavenly tribulation. It needed to be forged within attribute spiritual objects. The inheritance of the treasured cauldron lineage mentioned this magic tool, but it was vague and didn't mention how to refine it. Although Daoist Master Myriad Corpses came from the Imperial Regency, he was just a foundation establishment cultivator back then. After coming to Beiyuan Xiaoxian, he stayed in the northern part of the mountain and didn't come into contact with any high-end refining inheritances. It was normal that he didn't know about such an obscure magic tool. Daoist Thunderflame took out 2 jade slips. This thing is only useful for ghost cultivators. The refining method is here, you can do as you see fit. This heaven-deceiving coffin is only a 3rd grade upper grade, so you should be able to refine it. The materials are also easy to find. The yellow spring willow in the Yellow Spring Secret Realm is an excellent material. Its only use is to conceal the secrets of the heavens. Once it's leaked, the ghost cultivator using the heaven-deceiving coffin will suffer the heavenly tribulation. The person refining the heaven-deceiving coffin will also be implicated. Therefore, it's best that you refine it yourself. Most cultivators at the Zifu realm and above often had to modify their life-bound magic tools. Therefore, they more or less knew the art of refining. Refined Corpse took the jade slips and cupped his hands. Since there's a way to conceal the secrets of the heavens, I'm willing to go to the southern wasteland. I'll go refine the heaven-deceiving coffin now, please take me with you. Daoist Thunderflame nodded. I'll wait for you at the treasured lake. After saying that, the master and disciple left the entrance of the secret realm and went to the treasured lake oasis. After the great battle between the demons and half-demons, there was also Refined Corpse. There wasn't a single person in the oasis, not even a bird or beast. The only sound was the wind blowing from the desert. Daoist Thunderflame looked around. This place is not bad. If the grade of the spirit vein was higher, it would be a good place to live in seclusion. When I was traveling here in the past, there were hundreds of wandering cultivators here. It could be considered a fertile land. The food and wine here are also not bad. I even had a big meal. Now, there are only a few fish in this treasured lake. After saying that, Wang Daoyuan used Black Tortoise Purgatory and fished out dozens of ranked spirit fish from the lake. The master and disciple ate an all-fish feast by the lakeside. Half a month later, a low-grade Tier 4 Refined Corpse arrived. Seeing Wang Daoyuan and Daoist Thunderflame, it bowed stiffly. Senior, I've already refined the heaven-deceiving coffin. Daoist Thunderflame nodded. I've already sent a message to the Divine Weapon Pavilion. Soon, a high-grade Tier 4 flying warship will arrive. At that time, you can take the Refined Corpse and follow me to the southern wasteland. Early the next morning, a 30-meter-long flying warship arrived at the treasured lake oasis. Soon, over 20 Tier 4 Refined Corpses appeared in the Yellow Springs Secret Realm. Behind them, there were more than 10 Tier 4 walking corpses. The 4 Refined Corpses at the front were carrying a dark yellow coffin. This coffin's shape was no different from a normal coffin. However, there were complicated tool patterns carved on it. Although the spirit energy fluctuations were of high-grade Tier 3, the complexity of the tool patterns was not inferior to a low-grade Tier 4 magic tool. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to examine it, but he couldn't see through it. Since this coffin was called the heaven-deceiving coffin, It must be able to conceal heaven's secrets. Even heaven's secrets couldn't be seen through, so it was normal that Wang Daoyuan couldn't see through it. On the other hand, Daoist Thunderflame smiled. As expected, you're not simple. You cultivate both corpse and ghost. The corpse is nourished by the Yellow Springs water and the body is nourished by the Yellow Springs willow. After merging with the corpse and ghost, you can easily kill cultivators of the same level with your own strength. If it wasn't for the fact that Beiyuan Xiaoxin can no longer produce Yuanine cultivators, you really would have been able to make a name for yourself. Since I want to use you, I can naturally accommodate you. With your current strength, you won't be able to play any tricks in my hands. However, I have to warn you. I hid a backup plan in the refining method of this heaven-deceiving coffin. I can destroy this heaven-deceiving coffin at any time, so it's useless no matter where you hide. Using the heaven-deceiving coffin to conceal heaven's secrets is a heaven-defying act. Once the heaven-deceiving coffin is destroyed, even if you hide in the Yellow Springs secret realm, you won't be able to escape the heavenly tribulation. When the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master heard this, he quickly admitted defeat. From now on, this junior will definitely listen to senior's words. Daoist Thunderflame nodded and didn't say anything else. Afterwards, Wang Daoyuan went to the Yellow Springs secret realm to investigate. He didn't want the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master to leave behind any seeds of disaster and cause trouble in the future. Chapter 684. Wang Daoyuan entered the Netherworld secret realm. The situation here was not much different from when he was in the Foundation establishment stage, but the Yin Qi was denser. He released the red-feathered crow from the space of the spirit bead, and red and gold flames spewed out. The surrounding Yin Qi quickly dissipated under the flames. The Yin Qi here was drifting from the Netherworld, which was at the 3rd level, and it was very heterogeneous. It was unable to compete with the red-feathered crow's life spirit fire. The red-feathered crow turned into a sun and quickly dispelled all the Yin Qi in the entire secret realm. The entire secret realm was more than 100 miles in diameter. Wang Daoyuan's divine sense was no longer obscured by the Yin Qi, and he explored every corner of the secret realm. The 10,000 Corpses Daoist master did not leave anything behind, and all the refined corpses were taken away. Wang Daoyuan carefully explored the cave residence of the 10,000 Corpses Daoist master and did not find anything like a secret room. Then he came to the bank of the Netherworld. The trunk of the Netherworld willow had been cut off and refined into a heaven-deceiving coffin, leaving only a 1-foot-tall stump. Wang Daoyuan came for this. This Netherworld willow was not an ordinary spiritual plant. If the legend of the Netherworld secret realm being connected to the underworld was true, then this Netherworld willow might have grown from the seed of the Netherworld willow. The Netherworld willow in the underworld was a real divine tree. Although it was not as famous as the Fusang divine tree, it was actually of the same level. The value of a spiritual plant sprouted from a divine tree seed was needless to say. Although it was only 3rd level upper grade, there was a big gap between it and the Netherworld willow in the spirit bead space. However, the one in the spirit bead space was only a branch after all, and its foundation was much weaker. It would be much more difficult to grow to a higher level in the future. And this guy with only a stump might grow to a level close to the divine tree in the future. If there was another fortuitous encounter, it was not impossible to grow to the level of the Netherworld willow. Such a spiritual plant with such potential naturally could not be let go. Wang Daoyuan used the earth-splitting technique to shatter all the rock layers around the Netherworld willow stump. All the roots of the Netherworld willow stump were intact. The Yellow Springs willow had been growing in the mystic realm for an unknown number of years. It had grown to a depth of over 300 feet. Fortunately, the rock here was not very strong, otherwise, it would be really difficult to dig it out. Taking the entire tree's stump into the space of the spiritual pearl, he planted it beside the Gui water death flame. He then looked at the Yellow Springs. His divine sense was unable to penetrate it. He didn't dare to cause any trouble here. If the Yellow Springs really connected to the underworld and he messed around here, something big might happen. To be able to obtain a spirit plant with a bright future, this trip was not in vain. Thus, he didn't continue to stay here. He left the secret realm and arrived at the Mirror Treasure Lake. The coffin of the 10,000 corpses Daoist master had already been carried onto the flying warship. As for the other refined corpses, most of them were placed into coffins. After all, the flying warship of the Divine Weapon Pavilion contained a large number of refined corpses. There was only one grade 4 low-grade refined corpse left, chatting with Lei Yanzhenren. Wang Daoyuan boarded the warship, and the warship immediately took off. He asked the refined corpse, 10,000 corpses Daoist master, your blue sea observation record is in my hands. It records that you came from the Qixing Sea Xiaoxian community. When you came to Beijing Xiaoxian, your cultivation was only at the late stage of the Zifu realm. The Qixing Sea Xiaoxian community is extremely far from Beijing Xiaoxian, to the extent that Beijing has never heard of the Sea of Seven Stars. The boundless sea isn't something a Zifu realm cultivator can casually cross. The refined corpse made a sighing motion, but it didn't sigh. As expected, that inheritance falling into your hands is a big problem for me. It seems you want to break through the Yuanying realm in the Qixing Sea Xiaoxian community. I was able to come to Beijing Xiaoxian by accident. When the myriad spirit sect was destroyed, its disciples scattered in all directions. As a foundation establishment cultivator, I wasn't a core figure, so I wasn't hunted down too much. Although I was reduced to a loose cultivator, I relied on my artifact forging and formation skills to make a good living. In a few decades, I cultivated to the Zifu realm, married, and had children. Later, the forces that besieged the Imperial Regency wiped out the last resistance of the Imperial Regency. Under the leadership of a traitor, they began to clean up people like me. I was discovered by them, and several Zifu realm cultivators came knocking on my door. My battle prowess was passable, and I was able to escape in the end. My poor wife and children died in their hands. Later, I joined the infamous Blood Shark. This is the largest pirate force in the Qixing Sea Xiaoxian community, and their leader is a peak Yuanying cultivator. He has a great enmity with the forces that besieged the Imperial Regency and has always opposed them. After entering the Blood Shark, I discovered that some of my fellow disciples from the past were also here. I cultivated wholeheartedly in the Blood Shark, hoping to avenge my wife, children, and sect. Unfortunately, good times didn't last long. There were too many fellow disciples who joined the Blood Shark, and it aroused the vigilance of those forces. The Blood Shark was besieged, and several of its leaders died in battle. My fellow disciples were also chased until they had nowhere to hide. In the end, I was forced into a dangerous place in the sea, where I discovered a teleportation formation left behind from ancient times. I used the teleportation formation to escape, and arrived in an unfamiliar sea. I used the clone soul nurturing technique to control a few sea monsters, and confirmed that I was more than 1,000,000 kilometers west of the Qixing Sea Xiaoxian community. Then I hit on a sea monster and fled west. It took me several decades to arrive near Beiyuan Xiaoxian. I was chased by pirates here, and in order to survive, I fled into the tidal dragon sea. As for the rest, you should already know. I made the map into a tattoo and engraved it on my body. I hope that one day, I can return to the Sea of Seven Stars to take revenge. I can give it to you now. In fact, you don't need to ask me about the route. With your current strength, you can go all the way east, and before you reach the teleportation formation, no one can do anything to you. Wang Daoyuan asked, then how did you get out of the tidal dragon sea? As far as I know, no golden core cultivator can come out alive after entering. The tidal dragon sea was indeed very clever. It should have been set up with high-level tidal dragon as a refining material. In addition, there were many sea monsters there. Once you got lost, you could easily be ambushed by the sea monsters. I was able to escape by relying on the heaven-peering technique passed down by the Imperial Regency. This technique was created by a soul formation cultivator. It can increase the detection range of one's divine sense, and it is also very effective in seeing through fog. Unfortunately, I only learned a little and could only barely survive in the tidal dragon sea. I hid here and there for several years before I came to the Zijin River Valley by chance. I can also give you this heaven-peering technique. I don't need to tell you what happened after that, right? Wang Daoyuan nodded and gave Refined Corpse 2 blank jade slips. After half a cup of tea's time, Refined Corpse finished recording the jade slips. He had already squeezed out all the value of 10,000 Corpse Daoist, so there was no need to go to the southern wasteland again. The war was imminent, so he had to improve his strength as soon as possible. Previously, he had comprehended several sword intents in the Tai sword sect, and he could also try to fuse them. If he could obtain the Guiyuan sword intent, his strength could also rise to another level. The flying warship arrived near the Jade Spring Peak. He cupped his hands to Lei Yen and said, "Master, I have gained a lot this time. I need to consolidate it, so I won't go to the southern wasteland. The demons are deceitful, so please take care of yourself. When the war breaks out, I will go to the southern wasteland to help." Lei Yen smiled and said, "Go back and cultivate well. It won't take much effort to send 10,000 Corpse Daoist to the southern wasteland." After returning to the underground cave of the Jade Spring Peak, Wang Daoyuan took out the harvest of this trip. Seeing 10,000 Corpse Daoist's heaven-peering technique, Wang Daoyuan had a sense of déjà vu. After thinking for a long time, he realized that he had cultivated this thing before. When he was at the 7th level of Qi refinement, he explored the hidden cloud continent with a rogue cultivator named Zheng Kong. Later, the two had an internal conflict. After he killed Zheng Kong, he obtained the Golden Rock Fighting Dragon technique and a small spell called Heaven-Peering Technique, which allowed him to see further in the fog of the hidden cloud continent. That spell was very shallow, but it was obviously of the same origin as 10,000 Corpse Daoist's heaven-peering technique. Chapter 685. It was hard to say what the relationship between these two techniques was. It was possible that the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master's technique had been leaked and obtained by others. It was also possible that Beiyuan Xiaoxian and Qixing Si Xiaoxian community had some kind of connection. For example, there had been previous exchanges, or other people had come and gone between the two immortal cultivation worlds. It didn't matter which situation it was. The role of the technique was very important. Both spells required the power of the spiritual sense to condense a heaven's prying eye. However, the heaven's prying eye he obtained from Zheng Kong was only temporary. The heaven-peering eye of the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master could exist forever. The method of condensing the heaven-peering eye was similar. The only difference was whether it could be maintained for a long time. Through the heaven-peering eye, the power of spiritual sense could double the range of detection. With Wang Daoyuan's current spiritual sense power, he could explore things within 300 miles. Using the heaven-peering eye, he could detect things within 600 kilometers. The greatest use of this technique wasn't to see far, but to break through barriers. There were many things in the immortal cultivation world that could block the power of spiritual sense. For example, the fog of the aquatic dragon sea, rocks that contained a lot of spiritual power, and so on could greatly reduce the detection range of spiritual sense. When facing such things, the detection range of the heaven-peering eye would more than double. In addition, it also had a restraining effect on concealment methods. After practicing the crude heaven-peering technique before, it was much easier to cultivate the heaven-peering secret technique given by the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master. It only took him a day to condense the heaven-peering eye. Through the heaven-peering eye, he could use spiritual sense to explore the Jade Dragon Spring. Previously, he could only detect about 3 kilometers underwater. Now, he could detect more than 3 kilometers underwater, and the detection range had more than doubled. The content of continuing to cultivate was to continuously strengthen the heaven-peering eye. There should be more brilliant methods to use it, but the 10,000 Corpse Daoist master only knew so much. The rest was a painstaking effort, and it wasn't something that could be achieved overnight by relying on perception. Wang Daoyuan didn't spend any effort to cultivate. He also needed to cultivate the sword escape technique he obtained from Daoist Master Cloud Sword. This sword escape technique was called the sky-splitting sword escape technique. When using the escape technique, one's body turned into a sword shadow. It was extremely fast and had a very strong attack power. Cultivating this sky-splitting sword teleportation didn't have high requirements for one's foundation. However, in order to unleash its true power, he had to achieve the state of one with the sword. Sword cultivator dharma spells were not differentiated by attributes. As long as one was a sword cultivator, they could cultivate it. This escape technique could be said to be an all-attribute escape technique. It took him 5 days to reach the beginner level. At this moment, the speed of the sword evasion technique was slightly slower than the Golden Rock Imperial Sky technique, but its potential was much greater. When a sword cultivator reached an extremely high level, he could transform his body into a sword, and his speed could be compared to the real Golden Rock. The Golden Rock Imperial Sky technique only borrowed a little of its charm. It was far from being comparable to the real Golden Rock. This was also the reason why Wang Daoyuan did not lack escape techniques and wanted a sword escape technique. Next, he tried to fuse the sword intent. In the Beiyuan sword canon, there was no specific method of fusion. He could only feel his way across the river and try to integrate the newly comprehended killing sword intent into the white tiger sword intent. Under the suppression of his divine sense, the two sword intents fused together easily. However, when he relaxed his divine sense, the two sword intents immediately separated. It was clear that the fusion of the sword intents was not as simple as fusing into one. It required a deeper level of change. Wang Daoyuan's sword cultivation was not at the level where he could change the sword intents on a deeper level. He could only put it aside for now. His cultivation had reached the peak of the golden core stage, and there was basically no room for improvement. To break through to the half-yuaning stage, he needed to meditate and comprehend the laws. Which of the half-yuaning cultivators of the four great forces did not spend 100 or 200 years to take this step? Although Wang Daoyuan's comprehension was excellent, which of the cultivators who could cultivate to the half-yuaning stage was not a dragon or phoenix among men? Even if he spent all his time on comprehending the laws, it would probably take him decades or even centuries to break through. If he had the time, he might as well use it to cultivate dharma spells or improve his skills in alchemy, equipment, and talisman arrays. In addition to these, he also helped Zhou Luan to improve her cultivation and strive to cultivate Buttface. 3 years later, Zhou Luan's cultivation was only one step away from the peak of the golden core stage. Unfortunately, there was still no progress on the matter of Buttface. Wang Daoyuan had also cultivated several dharma spells to a higher level, and his strength had improved. At this time, the four great forces jointly issued a demon resistance conscription order. In the whole of Beiyuan Xiaoxian, all forces with cultivators in the golden core stage had to send cultivators to the southern wilderness to resist the invasion of the demon race. Many golden core forces were at a loss. After all, the demon resistance conscription order had not been issued for 10,000 years. Many people did not know what it was. The Zhou nation, Qin nation, Song nation, and other old countries had experience in dealing with it. They immediately sent their strongest cultivators to the southern wilderness. The forces that responded to the conscription did not have to worry about being attacked by other forces. This was because any force that responded to the conscription order would be protected by the four great forces. Whoever dared to attack the force that responded would be besieged by the four great forces. If the person who responded died in battle, the four great sects would also protect their force for 300 years. Lei Yanzhenren also sent a letter to Wang Daoyuan, telling him about the situation in the southern wilderness. When the cultivators of the Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Tai Sword sect were repairing the array, they were attacked by the demon race. A large number of demon race remnants and Yin demon tribe cultivators suddenly appeared at the demon resistance mountain. They no longer hid like before, but brazenly occupied the demon resistance mountain. The blood demon cultivators who were originally in the area of the demon resistance mountain were all attacked. They either died or fled. By doing this, the demon race was declaring war on the whole of Beiyuan Xiaoxian. If they could not destroy them, the demon resistance mountain would completely fall into their hands. The cultivators of the two sects could no longer repair the array. After a long time, the entire defensive array of the heaven extinction abyss would collapse. Beiyuan Xiaoxian would also become a dangerous place unsuitable for human survival. After receiving the exact news, Wang Daoyuan naturally had to leave for the southern wilderness. Naturally, this matter could not be hidden from Zhou Luan. She should have also received the news. Wang Daoyuan bid farewell to her. Zhou Luan smiled and said, "No need to say too much. It's not the first time we've parted. I'll help you look after your home. You don't have to worry about your family. Mingchen is also more sensible now. You don't have to worry too much. You just have to be at ease and resist the demon race in the southern wilderness." Wang Daoyuan nodded. The 10,000 corpse spiritual master was tricked by me to the southern wilderness. With the protection of the conscription order, I have nothing to worry about. I won't bring devouring soul. If there's anything, just tell him to do it. Finished speaking, he turned and left. The flying warship of the Divine Weapon Pavilion was already waiting at the Three River Market. All the late Oris Core stage cultivators of the Zhao Empire who participated in the war gathered at the Three River Market. When he arrived at the Three River Market, everyone else was already there. The Zhao Emperor sent Zhao Jingbang and Zhao Lingjiang. These two were second-rate Oris Core stage experts. Zhao Jinghua was the stabilizing force of the Zhao clan. He also shouldered the heavy responsibility of passing on the Zhao clan's inheritance. Naturally, he would not easily take risks. The Jinnan Kingdom on the Sixth Prince's side also sent Daoist Master Xianming and Daoist Master Earthflame. The two of them were also second-rate Oris Core stage experts. Daoist Master Xianming was the strongest. In the water region, he could be used as a first-rate Oris Core stage expert. The cultivator who came to greet him was also familiar. It was the disciple of the Divine Weapon Pavilion's Pavilion Master, Yubuqing. He was now a middle-stage Oris Core stage cultivator. After seeing Wang Daoyuan, he hurriedly greeted, "I haven't seen you for a few years. I can't see Junior Brother's depth anymore. In terms of fighting strength, Junior Brother shouldn't lose to the sect masters of the four top forces, right?" Wang Daoyuan's strength had improved a lot, but the four sect masters had tens of thousands of years of inheritance. It was not so easy to defeat them. The two of them laughed and chatted for a while. Then, they boarded the flying warship and flew south. The cultivators who were conscripted to rush to the battlefield could fly over any sect's mountain gate. No one could stop them. In addition to the flying warship speed, it only took 7 days to arrive at the Divine Weapon Pavilion's mountain gate. Chapter 686. When Wang Daoyuan and the rest arrived at the Treasured Cauldron Mountain, there were already more than 50 Oris Core stage cultivators gathered there. The demons were cunning and had many tricks up their sleeves. They didn't dare to enter the southern wasteland and gathered at the Treasured Cauldron Mountain. When Wang Daoyuan arrived at the Treasured Cauldron Mountain's conference hall, the leaders of the four top forces were already there. Other than that, there were also a few half-step Yuanying and peak Oris Core stage cultivators, as well as Zhou clan and Qin clan cultivators. These were the higher-ups of the resistance against the demons. As a peak Oris Core stage cultivator, he naturally had the qualifications to participate in the decision-making. After entering the hall, he cupped his hands and greeted everyone. "Greetings, Master. Greetings, seniors." Lei Yan smiled. "Daoyuan, you've been in the southern wasteland for many years, so you should know a lot about it. What do you think we should do?" "Master, you've stumped me. When I was still in the Violet Palace realm, I only went as far as the Demon Burial Mountain. After forming my Oris Core, I went to the Demon-Resisting Mountain to search for the Earth Essence. At that time, I was only in the Oris Core stage and didn't dare to wander around. I really don't know the situation in the Southern Wasteland. It's too dangerous to make a decision without knowing the situation." Yunjian smiled. "Daoyuan, you have such a cultivation at such a young age and can still be so humble. It's really rare. The demons are now occupying the Demon-Resisting Mountain, which is far away from here. We can't go to the Demon-Resisting Mountain directly from here, so we have to find a place to stay in the Southern Wasteland. We have to be very careful when choosing a place to stay, lest the demons take advantage of us." Celestial Arcanum Sects Sect Master Xiantian and Wind Snow Deity Palaces Sect Master Hans Huang nodded in agreement. One of them was at the westernmost part of Beiyuan Xiuxian, while the other was near the Arctic ice field. They rarely interacted with the southern wasteland. This time, they were only here to cooperate with Divine Weapon Pavilion and Tai Sword Sect. Lei Yan nodded. Junior Martial Brother Yunjian is right. We should find a reliable place to stay near the demon-resisting mountain. Daoist Master 10,000 Corpses was placed in the Ascension Valley, about 20,000 kilometers northwest of the demon-resisting mountain. Martial Uncle Mo Yang and the others were in the demon-suppressing city, about 10,000 kilometers east of the Ascension Valley. There was a golden iron mountain in the north between the two places. There was a golden iron mountain in the middle of the mountain. The rock stratum there was extremely sturdy, making it difficult for the demons to infiltrate from underground. Even if the demon clan attacked in large numbers, there was still the demon-suppressing city and the Ascension Valley in front of them to resist. Let's set up camp in demon-suppressing city or Golden Iron Mountain and strengthen the defense on the other side. The 3 points helped each other, and the demons did not dare to concentrate their strength to attack one point. Relying on the formation, we can easily defend ourselves and gain a firm foothold in the northwest of the demon-resisting mountain. Once the demon-resisting mountain makes a move, we can make a move at any time. When Wang Daoyuan went deep into the southern wasteland, he had only been to the demon-resisting mountain. He had never heard of a place like the Ascension Valley. Daoist Cloud's word nodded. The Golden Iron Mountain is indeed a good place, and Daoist Mo Yang is in Fiend Suppression City. These two places were fortresses that the demon clan could not conquer even when they were at their strongest. Daoist Xiantian had some doubts. The Golden Iron Mountain and the demon-suppressing city are naturally not a problem, but the 10,000 Corpse Daoist Master is not a reliable person in the Ascension Valley. Back then, he was severely injured by the ancestors of our 4 great sects, cutting off his cultivation path. If he harbors a grudge and colludes with the demon clan, we will not be safe in the Golden Iron Mountain and the demon-suppressing city. The Ascension Valley was the place where people ascended from the lower realm. Later on, the demon clan invaded and turned it into ruins. The passage to the lower realm was also completely cut off. After the spatial passage was broken, some small secret realms were formed. If the demon clan wants to hide in them and avoid our detection, it will be very easy for them to deal with us in the future. This was the first time Wang Daoyuan heard of a place related to ascension. In the great world where Beiyuan was located, one could ascend to the upper realm after cultivating to a certain level. However, this was just a legend. Beiyuan Xiuxian did not even have yuanying, so it was impossible for them to come into contact with that realm. According to Daoist Xuantian's words, the Ascension Valley should be a lower-level cultivation world than this one. Daoist Yunhe nodded. Xiantian Daoyou's words also make sense. Why don't our Divine Weapon Pavilion and Tai Sword Sect send experts to the Ascension Valley to investigate, so that we won't be ambushed by the Demon Clan when we go there? The Demon Clan doesn't dare to lay their cards on the table at this time. Even if they ambush people in the Ascension Valley, it's impossible for them to send experts. In my opinion, we should directly send first-rate Golden Core experts. Even if we encounter the Demon Clan, it's easy for them to escape unscathed. Daoist Xiantian said, since I'm the one who proposed this, my Archaic Mysteries sect naturally can't fall behind. Let my younger brother, Diviner, go and investigate. My Archaic Mysteries sect is good at seeking luck and avoiding calamities. Even if we encounter danger, we're sure to escape unscathed. Daoist Yunjian continued, since the Archaic Mysteries sect wants to send someone, it's not appropriate for my Tai Sword sect to not go. How about this? Let's let Wu Jin go. Ever since he formed his gold core, he has been patrolling the southern wasteland, so he knows it very well. The Wind Snow Deity Palace had not said anything, so there was nothing wrong with not sending someone. However, the Divine Weapon Pavilion was the main force against the Demon Clan. It would be inappropriate if they did not send someone. Without waiting for Daoist Lei Yan and Daoist Yunhe to speak, Wang Daoyuan volunteered, Master, Disciple is also willing to go to the Ascension Valley to investigate. You also know some of Disciple's methods. Unless the Yuanying demon clan appears, they won't be able to stop me. He wanted to investigate the Ascension Valley mainly because this place was related to the lower realm. He had always suspected that this world was related to the world of his previous life. The Ascension Valley used to be a passage connecting the two worlds. Whether the other side was the world of his previous life, he still needed to confirm. Daoist Lei Yen nodded. You've never spoken without thinking. Since you want to go, you must have great confidence. I won't stop you, but pay attention to your life. The three of them left the treasured Cauldron Mountain and took the flying warship to the demon-suppressing city. This place had always been the stronghold of the Divine Weapon Pavilion and the Tai Sword sect to guard the southern wasteland. Even now, there were still cultivators from the two sects taking turns to guard it. Daoist Mo Yang and a few other gold core cultivators attempted to sabotage Daoist Lei Yan's breakthrough to the Yuanying realm. The entire city was not very big, only 2 square miles. The city walls were built with Tier 4 upper-grade materials, and they were not ordinary Tier 4 upper-grade materials. They should be higher-grade materials, but because of the lack of spirit chi, they fell to Tier 4. The entire city walls were engraved with complicated tool patterns and formation patterns. When Wang Daoyuan and the rest arrived, the cultivators from the two sects naturally welcomed them warmly. The commotion at the demon-suppressing mountain was getting bigger and bigger. They were really afraid that the demon clan would come and besiege the demon-suppressing city. Now that Wang Daoyuan and the other 2 top experts had arrived, they naturally felt relieved. Daoist Mo Yang did not appear. He had a grudge with the treasured cauldron branch that Wang Daoyuan belonged to. It would be awkward if they met. After the 3 of them made their public appearance, they did not make any movements on the surface. Naturally, they would not stay idle in the dark. The 3 of them sneaked out of the demon-suppressing city and headed to the Ascension Valley in the west. The Ascension Valley's terrain was very strange. It was a circular valley with a circular altar in the middle. The surrounding mountain peaks were like flower petals, surrounding and protecting the valley. The valley and the surrounding mountain peaks looked like a lotus flower. Unfortunately, most of the mountain peaks were broken, and the altar was also badly damaged. The 3 of them did not alarm the 10,000 corpse Daoist, but hid outside the Ascension Valley. The 10,000 corpse Daoist hid in the heaven-deceiving coffin and could only rely on the refined corpse clone to move. The refined corpse's divine sense was too weak and could not discover the 3 of them. After approaching, Wang Daoyuan realized why this place was so quiet and nameless. There were many kinds of death chi and other powers derived from yin chi here, but the spirit chi was extremely thin. Within 1,000 miles, even birds and beasts were extremely rare. Those who did not know its origin would definitely not call it the Ascension Valley. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.